There we go. I think
We can just trim it down. All right.
ooh, that speaker is sensitive, isn't it?
That is.
Or that microphone,
I
yeah.
know.
Okay. It's a little better?
A little better.
Okay. Ooh, hot dog, all right.
Okay. Cool, so we have Brent and Troy and Scott on there. Can you guys hear us?
Loud
I
and clear.
can.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear them so well.
So when you are, when you're playing a video, let me just walk you through this. When you're playing a video, you're gonna go to Zoom. You're gonna make it bigger. And what you're gonna do is you're going to share your screen and you're gonna share with computer sound. And then you're gonna pick wherever the video is and share that video. That's how they'll be able to hear the video better because when we tried it this morning,
Yeah.
the Zoom team couldn't hear the speakers in the room very well for video.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
that's,
All
all
right.
right. You guys have fun.
I'll be
Welcome
up if
to
you need
Ignite.
anything.
Oh, I need my caffeine. I'm not gonna get very far without that today. All right. Bye, guys at home.
Alright, will you close, or here, I guess I'll grab this one. Never mind. Thank you.
Uh-huh, absolutely.
All right. Just in case for the Zoomers that it's not too loud. I'm glad we have people here in real life. I'm glad we have you guys on Zoom too. Can you hear me when I'm over here as well? On Zoom?
Yeah, I still hear you.
Okay, just interrupt if you can't.
Okay.
I want to make sure that everybody can hear. So this morning, first we'll start with, and the materials.
Here.
Oh.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
In the way of everything.
Sorry. All right. So can we start with just everybody kind of introducing yourselves since we're gonna spend a lot of time together in the next few weeks. It won't be me every day. You'll have a bunch of other, hopefully a handful of other instructors. Do you wanna start?
I'm Jimmy.
I know the Zoomers can't see Jimmy, but if you can listen and then you guys can maybe each give a little introduction. I know we can't see your face, but Jimmy is starting. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Jimmy. I'm retired from the Air Force, so this is my next big career.
Wow.
This is all I do.
Daria.
Hi, I'm Daria. This is my actually third year in real estate. I just came over to Keller Williams from Carver Realty, so welcome. It's rebooting.
I'm Jamie. I'm a noob. I actually just moved here like 6 months ago as well, so new to the area also.
Nice. Where'd you move from?
Utah.
Okay. What brought you to Colorado?
My husband's work.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're freshly licensed and everything? Okay, we gotta get you on my calendar. And then, oh, Heather.
So I'm Heather. I'm pretty fresh to real estate, just graduated from UNC for business. So this is actually my first career,
Oh, nice.
hopefully my last.
I know she's fresh out of school and fresh out of real estate school.
Very exciting.
Yes.
I'm Crystal. I am new to real estate, second career. I've been in the world of early childhood education for the last 18 years. So this is completely new to me. So
Awesome. And then how about who's on? Troy, do you want to go?
You bet. So hello everybody. I'm Troy. This is my part-time career. Right now I'm also a school counselor down in Monument, Colorado. I've been with Keller Williams for about a year now. So
I'm from Monument.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bruce Palmer, class 87.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, awesome.
How about Brent?
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I am new to real estate, just recently licensed. Currently, I'm dual careering. I'm an insurance underwriter and trying to transition to real estate and real estate investing. I've been in insurance for about 20 years and just had about enough of it. So trying to transition.
And then who's left? Scott?
Yes, good morning. Scott's here.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, my name's Scott. I'm new to real estate as well, and looking to grow my business here in 2021.
Awesome. All right, so, oh, you need materials?
Yes.
Okay. Does everybody have materials? Do you guys at home have materials too? Already, at least you know where to find them? Do you need some? Yes, please.
No, where do you find those?
It was in the sign up. 1 second, I only know where to find my materials. If you go, if you guys go back to your sign up, it should be in a link from either the first email or the invite. I'm looking as well.
I also got an email yesterday that had the link in there,
Oh, you did?
and then it pulls it up on Google Docs.
Okay. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it now. Thank you.
Okay. So we will get, let's see. I had extras, but I don't have them in this folder. Okay, we're gonna start with a video so that I can just grab.
All right, good morning or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're from. My name is Paul Campanero. I'm team leader at the Northwest Market Center in Austin, Texas. And I'm excited today because we're going to jump into my favorite conversation, prospecting. But before we attach any negative connotations to the word prospecting, look, prospecting's all about conversations. And ultimately, we know we get paid by what we say and how often we say it as professionals. And so prospecting is just another word for being intentional about creating conversations, making connections. And look, ultimately, that's what allows us to serve more people. So prospecting was something I had to be intimately familiar with, starting as a full-time agent in Las Vegas, Nevada in 2008. The perfect time to get involved in real estate. I was originally I'm from Rochester, New York, so I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. I didn't know anybody, and so not only did I not have a sphere to be able to work off of and work my database more diligently, I was building that in the process. The market was crashing, and so while the market was crashing, my career was careening upwards because I was really, really intentional about prospecting, and we're gonna get into all those attributes in regards to how to prioritize prioritize prospecting and tie your why to that, because when you can tie your why to prospecting, that will drive you through the fire when you don't feel like it. Because newsflash, prospecting is not just when you're motivated, because feelings fade. And so prospecting really is prioritizing your connections with people so that you can create those conversations. And when you tie your why to that, that'll help you drive through the fact that the market's crashing. That was what was happening to me in 2008 in Las Vegas, Nevada, or that I'm new to the business. So not only was I new to the business, I had to learn to speak short sale. A whole different type of prospecting. And so if I could do it when the market was crashing as a brand new agent in January of 2008 and create new conversations to build my sphere faster and go from 14 to 36 to 52 to 129 transactions year 1, 2, 3, and 4, then look, you can do it in this fantastic economy that we're in. And regardless of how fantastic it is for you where you are, at the end of the day, again, this is just about creating conversations to connect with people. And so today, this session for participants, you're going to be able to describe prospecting and how it contributes to your lead generation efforts. We're going to look at explaining the different types of prospecting. And hey guys, I want to make sure that participation's fantastic today. So make sure that if there's an opportunity to engage, this makes it much more enjoyable for both of us when you're interacting and engaging. So I love to hear back on any thoughts, comments, questions, fears, delusions on our conversation today around prospecting. We're also going to make sure that participants are going to learn how to develop your own prospecting plan. And so with that, let's jump right in. We're going to be talking today about the grow aspect of your business. That's our focus today, is lead generating for buyers and sellers. And for those of you who've been following along for Spark and now Ignite, you've seen this outline before. But today, again, we're zeroing right in for lead generation and the differences between proactive and direct aggressive prospecting. So for the outline today, first we're going to talk about prospecting to lead generation. Then we'll move to diving deep on different prospecting methods. From there, we'll move to taking action and developing a plan. And then finally, we'll recap and talk about ahas and create a success list so that you can move forward. So not just differentiating, that's the technicality of this whole thing, but really understanding how can I take initial next best steps forward for you to be able to engage with prospecting that you can begin to get excited about. If you're not excited about it yet, begin to get excited, because when I can tie the fact that this is about serving more people, then I may be more apt to start engaging prospecting methods that are going to be in alignment with my personality type and my character. All right, so let's look at the lead generation model. Somewhat familiar here for those of you who've meandered and gandered through the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And prospecting and marketing ultimately starts with capturing leads at the end of the day. And then turning those leads into opportunities and having contacts and really being able to create touch programs. And really that's what Command is going to be the biggest benefit right now for you guys with Command, is organizing around those contacts and leads. And look, especially for you newbies, and for some of you, look, I coach and consult $50 million, $100 million plus producers, and the number one thing that is always an issue, regardless how long or how successful you are in the business, is organizing around your database. And so I want to strongly encourage you to take a look at where do you need to get more organized around your touch programs and your organization with your database, whether they're Mets or unmets, people that I've met and that I know they like me, they love me, people that I don't know, they're leads, and I'm moving them through the funnel here and cultivating them with those touch programs, ultimately so that I can get to an appointment. And so when I know that there's a process here, whether it's people that I know or people that I don't know, and each of them have their own touch programs, then I can filter them through that process and stay organized about staying in touch. Because look, this is a people business, right? And for many of you who got into the business, you knew that and you're like, yes, I love talking to people, I want to serve. And that human aspect and element of connection for many of you comes easy, and yet it's a people business. And the business side of it is being intentional about how you touch them, how you stay connected to them, how you systematize this process, systematize this relationship so that you can serve more people. When you get organized about that, when you get more, for those of you who've been around a little while, for you, and you get more organized around that, man, you're gonna see conversion ratios begin to see that trajectory move forward faster, because a little bit of organization goes a long way when you implement systems and models like this. All right, so lead generation should always be purposeful and intentional. And I'm laughing because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day as far as what's happening. Now, when you're new, it's the training and the conversations that you're having around the market center to figure out what next best steps are. When you even get a little bit busy where you're doing a deal a month or every other month, you get caught up in what's happening with the transactions, and you're being pulled with calls and escrow, buyer, seller, lender on what you should be doing. And so it could get pretty easily, you can get caught up in not doing what you're supposed to be doing, certainly time blocking, right? And so being purposeful and intentional about your lead generation is going to be important. And so the first point of being purposeful, intentional would be your message. So what is your message when you're prospecting? Now, whether it's direct or indirect marketing, or you're creating your marketing, or you're creating direct conversations around your prospecting, what's my message? And so the first point there, you see match your market. And so who's your people? What's your target? And what's that mean for your message? Now, it could be more generalized, and you guys have awesome tools that Gary's given us on Keller Offers and Keller Mortgage for you to be able to create a message so that you can target these audiences, and your message may even be curtailed around market conditions. But look, start simple. You have a message to be able to utilize some of these tools like Keller Mortgage and Keller Offers to be able to create a message that's uniform and consistent, and that ultimately creates a next best step, creates a call to action, whether it's directly or indirectly, to be able to help them move forward. Now, method is just how I'm doing it, right? Because I'm prospecting and I'm out there creating conversations, or I'm marketing and I'm creating the opportunities to create conversations. But both are methods to be able to move forward with creating the opportunities for conversations. Because again, my job is to talk to people, and I know that I get paid to socialize, and whether I'm creating those opportunities through conversations and prospecting expireds or for sale by owners, or door knocking, or open houses, or I'm creating marketing content to create the opportunity for those conversations via snail mail or social media. At the end of the day, I'm looking to create opportunities for more conversations. And so doing that ultimately is rooted around being intentional, because that's where we started, being purposeful and intentional around time blocking. Now, for some of you, this is something that you got to get better at because you're not doing it that well. For some of you, you have a beautiful calendar and there's colors and it looks fantastic, and yet you're not following the schedule as far as what's time blocked. Because when we're starting, it's preparing with what I'm doing with my time blocking for the type of prospecting. What type of prospecting am I doing? So if I time block and I prepare to time block for the specific type of prospecting that I'm doing, then that's going to entail a certain type of preparation. So I'm down below there on, can they see my arrow? Oh, they can. Okay, lovely. If you're preparing for, let's say, open houses, what happens with your ability to set up for the open house, to market the open house, to make circle prospect around the open house? For expireds and for sale by owners, how do you prepare for the data? What's your pre-prospecting routine? Maybe you haven't heard that before. What do I do before I get started to get my head in the game, certainly to get my body in the game so that I have physiological and psychological alignment? Because look, these conversations, look, they're $5,000 conversations to you, $10,000 conversations to you, $30,000 conversations to you. To these clients, these prospects, These are $300,000 conversations, right? The value of their home. They're $1 million conversations. So these are very important questions for you to be able to prepare for. And I challenge you to not just time block your prospecting time, but time block your preparation and label it. Just don't label open house. Which open house is it going to be at? Just don't label expireds. Are they fresh expireds or are they old expireds? Just don't label it circle prospecting. Label the neighborhood you're going to be circle prospecting on to up the level of your intentionality. Is that a word? Just go with it. Or how purposeful you're being to make sure that you're creating this process and this consistency to be more efficient and effective. And ultimately, you're going to take action. And so after preparation is your ability to take action and get into action and then maintain. Look, that's keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that can be the hardest part, is remaining consistent. Now, look, not just consistent with I time block to prospect for an hour, and I actually do that, versus I allow my phone to get in the way, and all of a sudden I see it ringing. Pretend this is a phone, and I see the phone's ringing, and I get distracted there, because distractions are the devil. So make sure that you turning your phone off, or you put your phone in another room, or you're prospecting in a different station than you would be if you were doing administrative work. That's what I'm talking about on maintaining your consistency with your prospecting hour or hours while you're doing them, but then also the broader scale of how consistent you're being with how often you're prospecting. Knowing that administrative work, servicing your clients are elements that are going to weave their way and trickle in on breaking up your schedule, on your time blocks. Look, that's called okay. Give yourself some grace with that, because it'll happen. And how are you coming back to that and removing distractions and setting yourself up for success, so that not only can you maintain consistency within the designated time blocks, but then over longer periods of time, how you can remain consistent with prospecting. Because look, how am I going to create a bigger mindset with how important prospecting is? Creating conversations. Now you got to relabel it: lead generation, creating conversation, connection time. Look, I don't know, but if you don't have a lead problem, you don't have a problem. There are no problems until you have too many lead problems, my inability to deal with leads. So if I don't prospect, ultimately I don't have anything. And so my inability to prioritize the importance of prospecting, man, that can cost me a lot of money if I haven't figured out how to make adjustments on my mindset and create some consistency. All right, so essentially, what page are we on here? We're on the page I don't know. On your screen that you're seeing be prospecting based. So essentially, when you're first starting your business, look, it should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Well, why is it best to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? I'd love to hear some ideas while I'm moving through here. But what are your thoughts around why it's important to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced? You can give me a little keyboard through Slido, or you can raise your hand and hold down your mic if you're interested in a video conversation here. But while you guys are kind of hanging out there, look, marketing is money intensive. And usually at the beginning of your career, most of us don't have a big budget to put towards marketing. And so red light, green light. Gary talks about red light, green light, being able to start with cost-effective ways of creating conversations. Did I get a green box? No. Oh, here we go. Prospecting is cost-effective. Thank you, Mr. Anonymous. They have to opt in their names there. Marketing takes time to pay off. Absolutely. Thanks, Rick, with KWLP. Where are you out of, Rick? LP. Marketing materials can support your prospecting activities. Absolutely. Especially your open house or your for sale by owner or expired prospecting. Marketing materials can absolutely help with that. Back to Rick, though, on marketing takes time to pay off. Look, this isn't a 3-month or 6-month engagement. Marketing really is something long-term, so your commitment to it needs to be fixed. And obviously that's money intensive and passive. It takes time, and you have to be bought into that. Another Mrs. Anonymous here said, one, you are actively looking for leads. The other, you are waiting for leads. Prospecting gives you an opportunity to practice scripts and skills. I love that one because we get paid by what we say and how often we say it. So look, whether you get leads from internet leads or expireds or FSBOs or door knocking or even your sphere of influence, the quality of your conversations are going to be in direct proportion to your business, how much business you get, because you got to get them to trust you to be able to sit down at the kitchen table. And then once they're at the kitchen table, get them to trust you. We're talking about the speed of trust here, to sign a contract. And so prospecting is a direct tool for you to enhance your communication skills. So I always get a little perturbed when people talk down about scripts or about role play. Look, that's the number one skill that we have is the relationships. Nobody's going to argue with that, right? Is that our superpower is the relationships. And yet I'm not dedicated to be able to create better conversations and relationships through some practice, knowing that every highly skilled professional in the world practices at a high level. That's what I'm going to need to be able to do. And prospecting is an immediate opportunity to enhance and create opportunity around those skills. Prospecting is time intensive. So look, I'm going to have to spend a lot of money or a lot of time. Look, there's only two places to get leads, people I know, people I don't know, and there's only two ways to get those leads in those groups. I pay for them or I go get them. Now the marketing we talked about as far as it being money intensive, and prospecting, while it's not as money intensive, and it may be a little bit money intensive, certainly nowhere near the commitment on money on the marketing side, it's going to be time intensive. So I have to learn how to master repetitious boredom. The highest paid players in the world, and by players I mean business people, the highest paid people in the world learn to master repetitious boredom. It's not exciting sometimes being at an open house and having conversations or waiting for a conversation. You could go an hour or more waiting for that conversation to occur. You're making calls to expireds or for sale by owners or just listed, just sold in your area, and it may take 10 or 15 calls to even get one person to say hello. And so these are time-intensive activities that I have to find out, how do I keep my mind in the game? We talked before about having a pre-prospecting routine, but how can I keep my mind in the game knowing that this is time-intensive? It will take time. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time or a lot of money or both. But certainly marketing or prospecting is, you're going to have to invest heavily in either or, both of those or one of those. Prospecting is proactive, and certainly it can produce immediate results. I love that, especially when I was getting started in 2008. I had maybe barely 2 months of income, and I have a 5-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and I needed money right now. And so I had to go out and prospect for expireds and for sale by owners because I didn't have a database, a significant database yet. And so I was under pressure to be able to get a contract right now. Now, look, I wasn't comfortable with that. I invested heavily in understanding how do I improve the quality of my communication. I was doing a lot of role play for me to be able to get a result right now, because expireds, look, that's big game hunting. I can get an expired listing today. I can go out and call an expired listing today and go out and take that listing today. Same thing for sale by owners. Now, not as aggressive as expired. Pretty stereotypically, they take a little bit longer to be able to see results on for sale by owners, but those are more immediate results. Circle prospecting, even a little bit less so, but the opportunities may be immediate versus longer term. Okay, let's keep the train rolling here. And so different types of prospecting. If you turn to page 4 in your Ignite Elementals prospecting manual, page 4, there's different types of prospecting here, variety of prospecting methods. And how about different types of prospecting that you guys have experienced, and what's worked well for you, or what you think is the best type of prospecting? What is the best type of prospecting, anyways? I know that's a loaded question, but let's hear some of your thoughts on Slido or through MashMe on what's going on with your thoughts around prospecting, which ones you've engaged with that you've seen really good results with or less so, or what you think may be the best. And again, for me at that time in my in my business, the market was crashing, and so there was no open houses. They were all open. They were called foreclosures. And so I couldn't hold open houses because it just wasn't happening. And distressed properties were all over the place. So I had to be able to go out there and create expired and for sale by owner opportunities. Those were short sale listings. 90% of the market in Las Vegas was short sale or expired. But for me, that's what I had to go out and do. Now, my business began to transform and evolve into opportunities for database. But certainly at the beginning of my business, Expired and FSBO, because of the opportunities for more immediate results, made the most sense to me. You guys have so much. Here we go. Open houses. Okay. Open houses. What do you like about open houses there, Misty? Mr. Anonymous, the one you will do consistently. Love that. Absolutely. All forms of lead generation work. How efficient and how effective they are, but certainly the prospecting that you do consistently at the end of the day is what's going to provide you the most opportunity and that you feel most inclined to engage in, because look, there's going to be prospecting I know for certain I'm not going to do. Okay, let's put those aside. And we're going to get to that in a little exercise in a minute. There's forms of lead generation that I'm comfortable doing. And then there's forms of lead generation that I need to get uncomfortable doing, because Gary talks about this. Look, everybody needs to master their database. That's a golden ticket for everybody. But then there should be 2 or 3 other options. We're going to look at that on what you're engaging at a higher level. And for some of you, you're going to have to get uncomfortable with that and know that there's going to be an element of consistency that's going to be required for you to be able to see results. All righty. So prospecting methods. Let's deep dive on prospecting methods and looking at the different ways that you can engage prospecting. So we'll be looking at prospecting-based marketing-enhanced prospecting opportunities, door knocking, agent-to-agent referrals, open houses, and social media. That's certainly a new one. That's not new, but not that social media is new, but for the old Ignite content. That's obviously played such a big role just even in the last 5 years of the opportunities for social media prospecting that may produce immediate results. So let's jump in and look at page 7 for door knocking, page 7. And there we go, page 7. Okay, so what are some of the limiting beliefs that you guys have around door knocking? So I'm going to throw that question out there while I start to maneuver through some of this content. What are limiting beliefs you may have around door knocking that have prevented you from being more consistent door knocking, or for even attempting door knocking? So the first little icon there says approach. And, here we go. Misty's, thank you, Misty, for engaging. I love that. I appreciate that. In our area, Kansas City, we can hold open houses for other agents. If done well, they generate buyer and sellers easily and with little cost. I love that. Easily and definitely with little cost. You can even borrow signs from agents who may be willing to allow you to borrow signs on loan for open houses. Approach. So let's jump back to the icon approach. Oh, here we go. People are jumping back in now. Creating preferred service providers lists and ask to be a preferred agent for door knocking. Okay, I'm scared that the homeowner will be rude. Certainly. You know what I'm scared of? Dogs. Now, I love dogs. I had a big dog, half pit, half black lab when I was a kid. I'm not actually scared of dogs, but I'm scared of other people's dogs that are big. When I would go to the front door and hear those dogs barking, I would always eye roll like, here we go. Are they going to hold the door closed enough? Am I going to be running? So that element of fear, which Mr. Anonymous here on I'm scared the homeowner will be rude. What if no one answers the door? Hey, that's an element that I have to begin, especially as a new agent, understand that there's a high number of people that just won't engage, meaning they don't open the door, they don't pick up the phone. And so some of that, let's call it lack of response rate. I just made that up right now off the top of my head. That where people are not responding is going to be part of whether I'm part of my prospecting. And look, we know that with marketing, right? We know that with a certain number of marketing, there's only a certain number of return on single digits as far as percentages for opportunity. Now, the good news with prospecting is that those percentages rise significantly in double digits for your opportunities for response, especially immediate response. And so, no one likes solicitors, Mr. Anonymous. Okay, Mr. Anonymous, let's go to bold. No one likes solicitors. Certainly now look, people don't hear what you say, they hear how you feel. Now, if you feel like a solicitor, then look, everything that you say could come across that way, and certainly you'll be fearful to continue conversations because I have to create, I can't wait for good conversation. And if I come from contribution that I want to serve, and to serve people, I have to understand them, and understand them, I have to ask good questions. Then you can recalibrate back to that center that I'm not a solicitor, I'm a server. I am a servant leader. And if I always, when I was door knocking, I saw the no solicitation, I respect that. I know people who didn't and went and knocked on the door and said, oh, my apologies, I didn't see that on the way up. And I was just so busy finding out if I might be able to help you. Look, whatever, you're going to do it or you're not going to do it, either way. But whatever your tactic is to be able to create the conversations, whether you ignore solicitation signs or not, I'm not a big fan of that, because if they went through the whole process of putting up a no solicitation sign, then I'm going to go ahead and respect that. How to start conversations when the door opens. That's a big one, right back to being committed to role play and to practicing conversations so that at the moment of impact, when some of that resistance occurs, which I know will happen because, look, I'm a salesperson. Paul, I'm not salesy and I don't want to be salesy. I know that, but your license says salesperson, because ultimately you have to be able to sell something. You are selling something. And so because you're a salesperson and because you're a stranger, that automatically puts you at a disposition of negativity, of lack of trust. And so I'm looking to earn trust faster. And when I can be focused on a conversation that's rooted in getting to know people and service-oriented, they'll hear how you feel around that when you can have better conversations. Okay, so with approach, let's jump back on those icons so we can keep moving. Know your script, ready your mindset and your materials, knock and step back to create space. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big one, especially when you're door knocking. Knock and then take a couple steps back. Keep your hands free and see so that they can see that there's not a threat. Nice big smile, name tag would be great. A shirt with your logo on it would be even better, but make sure that they know that the approach is of one coming from service. Act. Actively listen, come from contribution. That was like one of the Slido comments there, your ability to create better conversations on what their needs are and how you might be able to help them. Ultimately, ask for business or for referrals and your permission to stay in touch. You can easily maneuver through the scripts on how long have you lived here? What should I tell buyers when I bring them through the area? How'd you happen to move to this area? Questions that are engaging based on the relativity that they live in the area, they bought in the area, and because that rapport creates conversation and your energy is coming from service, you're much more likely to be in a conversation that's engaging and exchanging. I feel like Dr. Seuss now, where you have an opportunity to ask to stay in touch. Hey, do you mind if I stayed in touch and gave you a market snapshot report on what's going on with the values in the neighborhood? Certainly, bang, I sign them up to the Command Market Snapshot. And look, that's the last icon there is advanced. Add them to your database. Put them on a campaign. Take advantage of the initial opportunity you created so that you can have them in your funnel. Remember where we started with the funnel, and be more organized about how you're beginning to create opportunities and then ultimately relationships. All right. Engaging time here on how quickly I'm moving through. So agent to agent referrals, page 8. I'm on page 8, guys, in your handbook, your Ignite Elementals Prospecting Handbook. And so agent to agent referrals. Okay. Am I jumping to Command now? No, not yet. Yes? Command? Not yet. Okay, here we go. Thank you. I'm still a rookie at this, so I appreciate your kindness and your grace, people of America. And so yes, page 8, right? Yes, I am on page 8. Okay. Prepare. Once you made the decision to host an open house. Okay. So why does this feel like it's not matching up here? Page 8 in the participation guide. Top of mind. We're working agent to agent referrals. Page 8 says open house. Keep it going. Okay. Agent to agent referrals. Okay. That's what's on the screen. Let's go with that. Agent to agent referrals. Okay. Maintain, grow. How about add people to your agent to agent database? There's a woman in Oklahoma City who I met at family reunion last year, and she tells a story that was in the Outfront magazine on how she grew the opportunity for over 100 agent-to-agent referrals. Over 100. Look, we know that we're the largest real estate company in the world, so the network that you could use on connecting to the referral network in Command is a huge opportunity for you. Now, 100 in Oklahoma City. I didn't know that many people were moving to Oklahoma City from other areas, but hey, it's a testament to her ability to create conversations in comfortable language with agents and networking with them at Keller Williams events to be able to grow her referral network. How do you guys stay top of mind with agents that you may be networking with, or agents that in the past you've developed and nurtured relationships with to be able to create the opportunities for referrals? Okay, hold on 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm on page 6 of the Ignite Elementals. Page 6. Okay. Grow and maximize, okay? There was this really cool thing that I saw on Google where you could look up the percentage of people that were moving to your city from other cities. I do a little bit of homework on that and find out where people are moving from. If you're in a state like Texas, look, Texas is big. I'm in Austin, right? And there's people moving from San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma City, New Mexico. I'm going to start targeting some of those listing agents and find out using Command to be able to go to the referral network and figure out, hey, who's a listing agent that's selling a lot of property, maybe 12 or 24 listings a year. And I know that they're listing property and having people move who are selling their homes, moving to other areas and create relationships with them and increase your possibility for opportunities. So the second icon, manage, on the lower right-hand side there is systematizing your referral base, just like you would your database, your sphere of influence. Build relationships with them, and then create touch campaigns. Now, that may be a little bit different. Obviously, they'd be different. Maybe they wouldn't be different. You could still put somebody on a market snapshot, but they'd probably be a little bit different on agent-to-agent referrals and how you touch them to be able to stay in touch with them and stay top of mind share, right? Like MREA model talks about. I want to keep mind share, and certainly I know for Jenny Wolek, that's who it was in Oklahoma City, where she was being super intentional about her mind share with other agents, and I guarantee you her touch campaign was significant to be able to stay in touch with agents. Maintain your strategic relationships and stay top of mind. That's maintaining, updating the database and any information that you've received. So look, it takes a little bit of management. You're inputting them into the database, you're maintaining the database. And look, I know that agent-to-agent referrals may not be a significant or the biggest portion of your business. 110 referrals, 100 plus referrals though, maybe it is. But what you put into it will be what you get out of it. And even if it adds an additional 5 or 10 transactions to your year, I know for me, it was around 6 to 10 a year. So let's call it 8. Around 8 transactions a year I can count on from agent-to-agent referrals because I was intentional about managing and maintaining those relationships on agent-to-agent referrals. Okay, so let's take a quick look at that on what that looks like in Command. Okay, oops. Okay, on what that looks like in Command and for your agent-to-agent referrals. Okay, so it's that small pin icon with the little salesperson inside of it right there on the left hand. And so here's where you would be able to grow your network. This tab here, grow your network, and you could add a agent for anyone, anywhere really. And so I'm going to go up here to search map, and let's say that I'm looking for an agent in Rochester, New York, my original hometown. And I click Rochester, New York, and here comes all my possibilities on agents in Rochester, New York. But that this little scale icon here, I click on that in the upper right, and then that's where I can get specific with what type of agent I want to focus on. Somebody who has total closed units, somebody who's specific to listings, and I say I want somebody who's done at least 24 listings in the last year. And somebody who's a MAPS Mastery client, because if they've hired a coach and they've invested in themselves, then that says to me a lot about who they are and how they treat their business. And so that'd be something that I would absolutely apply. And I apply the filter, and then look, we went from 300 some odd agents down to this many, and you could very easily begin to customize your search for the type of agent. Anthony Butera, I know him from Rochester for sure, with Chuck, you guys up in Rochester, keep holding it down. You'd be able to create a customized list for agents all over the country and figure out what type of relationships those might look like for the specific type of agent versus just kind of guessing and meeting people randomly at family reunion, which is great. That's fantastic. Good for you. But man, being purposeful, we started a little while ago with that, with who I'm connecting with and how I connect with them is going to create leaps and bounds of efficiency in my business. All right, so let's go back here. Okay. All right. Open houses. Prospecting-based, marketing-enhanced open houses. And so for open houses, I want to make sure that I'm preparing. Preparing for open houses. Now we're on page 8. Now we're on page 8. The open house schedule for how you prepare for the open house could start almost a week ahead of time. When you're looking at page 8 and you see on Monday, select your open house location and time. You're prospecting agents to be able to get them to respond. Now look, it could take you several attempts to reach out to agents to get them to respond. That's why there's always opportunity in this business to succeed, because people just aren't communicating or responding on a professional level like they should be. So taking that away, look, you're going to have to be able to be adamant about connecting with people so that you can get to the open house. And so you spend some time doing that. You post online and generate a call list. You call 25 neighbors. I'd challenge you to bump that up to 100 at least. If you have a dialer, it should be 250, because you can maneuver through those pretty quickly with a dialer. But even if you don't have a dialer, look, 100's not that much. If you look at a street and how many properties are on the street, if they're not quarter acre or acre properties, you can move through 100 properties pretty quickly. On Wednesday, you're posting online and installing the KW mobile search app on your phone and putting a sign in the yard. Thursday, you're posting online invite database, return yard sign calls, email property-based internet leads. You might do something on social media to be able to advertise and market online. And then prepare the market stats and comps on Friday. I want to know my area. I want to be able to speak intelligently about what's going on in the area. And then finally, I place the signs around, the directional signs around the open house, and door knock the neighborhood. I know for us, for me specifically, our team was, we held an open house on Saturday. We called on Thursday. We knocked on Friday, knowing that there were people that we knocked that we may have talked to on the phone on Thursday, and that's okay. That's just putting a face to the name. But we called on Thursday, knocked on Friday, open house on Saturday. But what is your system on how you prepare? Because earlier in the week, we were figuring out which properties we were going to do an open house on, how we were going to market them via social media, and if we were going to send out mailers on them, because we wouldn't always, but we would definitely were doing calls and knocks 2 days before up into the open house. So how are you preparing? We're already talking about prospecting and how you're prospecting around the open house, because we know that when someone moves, someone else is thinking about it. How do we know that? The comps. The comps show that when a property goes into escrow, another one pops up nearby for sale or contingent. And so when someone's moving within a half mile for certain, a quarter mile, right? When someone has posted their property for sale, someone else is thinking about it. This just provides an easy way for me to create natural conversation because it's relative for them. It's not a cold conversation. It's relevant to one of their neighbors who's selling their home, which affects their property value. This is really a warm conversation. And when I come from that mindset, then I can use that for engaging and being in a different place to create good conversation versus waiting for it. Okay, pursue. And the pursue aspect of open houses for prospecting base and marketing enhance is that's the follow-up. Really, that's the follow-up. How good is your follow-up game? Because at the end of the day, your fortune's in the follow-up. We've heard that before. How good is your follow-up to be able to stay in touch with people? And what's your touch system? I love something that Ben Kinney uses in the Northwest and expansion unit all across the country on 10 days of pain. On every day for 10 days, there's some kind of touch via email, text, or phone. And some people go, whoa, that's too much for me. Okay, that's fine. But what will be your aggressive method to be able to reach out to them to create an opportunity? Because the further away you get from that initial conversation, the less likely they're going to be able to respond to you or certainly give you an opportunity for an appointment. So look, get aggressive. They're just not thinking about you. You're not important to them yet. Amiables. I know that hurts a little bit, but look, that's what's happening. I'm looking for a way to be able to create a conversation to be important to them and certainly to create the timing around an appropriate appointment that makes sense for them. All righty. Okay. We're on prospecting and adding contacts to your database. So let's jump back over to command. Oop. Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so we're looking to add a contact to the database. Okay. And you can see some simple things here that have already happened for Jessica, who's added contacts. And really simply, adding a contact happens up here through add a contact, or you could import a CSV format or a file to be able to add in bulk for contacts. But some of the really important things for contact, obviously the basics on name and phone number. Certainly tags. You see some tags over here in the background on people where she's tagged using the DTD2 method. And if you're not familiar with the DTD2, do the database 2 on compartmentalizing people's last names with 2 last names a week for being able to call certain people in certain weeks. Super high organization in Keller Williams. You're going to learn about that at BOLD or the other class on database. But you'd tag them based on their last name or being an allied resource or a buyer or, I love this, she's got all these tags for the specific, the beginning of their last names. That is awesome. She did all the heavy lifting already. Now, you're going to have to create that, right, and understand the DTD2, but very simply, even if they're not DD2, it could be Sphere, right, versus what's not here is an open house lead or an expired or an internet lead, right? I mean, this is a little bit more advanced, and this may take you some time, but don't let that overwhelm you to just go ahead and take a simple step. Tag them Sphere of Influence and add them to the database. Certainly make sure you have their address so you can attach a smart plan and immediately attach the neighborhood to the smart plan to be able to start sending them smart plans once a month or twice a month. Okay, adding a contact. There it is. Okay, I'm going to come back here and move through based on the time that we have. Open houses. Open houses. All right. So host a speaker. Okay. This is a great excuse to be able to get somebody to do an open house with you. A lender, contractor, landscaper. Any type of vendor who could be a guest speaker, a home improvement person, right? A contractor, a home warranty person. First of all, you have somebody with you. That's always good to have somebody with you, whether you're male or female. Having somebody with you at the open house is always a good thing, and it always provides a dual energy to continue to exchange. What's a good follow-up system for open house leads? The one that you use. Easy. I'm going to take a little sidetrack here because I got a question from Slido on open house leads. You can very easily in command schedule follow-up tasks. So I know for us with open house leads, it was an immediate text and immediate email. And then there was 3 touches within the first week, and then 2 touches a week after that for a month, and then they went into an email a month and a touch a month, a call or a text for up to a year, really, is how long we held on to open house leads. But for that first week, it was 3 touches in addition to those first 2 initial touches, which was a text and an email. So really, it was 5 touches. Ben Kinney's doing 10 days of pain. I love that. I think it's awesome, but what are you going to do? You're going to have to figure that out. Okay, so back to hosting a speaker for the open house. That's somebody to be able to take some heat off of you and create more conversation and provide more value for people coming through. Great way to also invite the neighbors and get them to show up, letting them know that you're going to have a guest speaker. Offer a gift or an incentive, some kind of scavenger hunt, or you're giving something away. That works pretty well. I've seen people do that successfully. Make sure that you get the house in showing shape. This is a big deal. Talk about fierce conversations and your ability to have better conversations. Telling somebody that the hoarder room needs to be cleaned up is not an easy conversation, or that we need a severe cleaning with extra Febreze plugins is something that I may need to address with the sellers, so that we create a best first impression, because we know that we never get a second chance for a first impression, and we want to make sure that people are paying attention to the home and not the stuff. And so having that conversation to make sure that they're cleaning up the yard, that we get some landscaping done, that we paint, that we remove the shrine of the Pittsburgh Steelers, or whatever it is that's distracting them from paying attention to the layout of the home, the square footage of the property. We want people to pay attention to the home, not your stuff. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Seller? Okay, finally, going live at your open house via Facebook. I love that. That really wasn't too much around when I was practicing a few years back, but I think that's an awesome way to be able to go live for Facebook during the time of the event. Tease the audience with a little sneak peek of the property. Maybe it's the kitchen, maybe it's just the front of the house, maybe it's the pool. But whether it's your sphere, whether it's your friend base in Facebook, or a group that you've created for a business page that you've created, or a group that you've created, some extra marketing with a go live on your open house would be a pretty cool way to create attention and make it fun. Don't get all stuffy with being a sales professional. They want to connect with you and trust you. People do business with people they like and trust. Notice how likes the first one there? They like. So let your personality come out and connect with them in a professional manner, but let that come out so that they can feel you and feel comfortable with you to make that connection and follow you on Facebook and pay attention to you. You're trying to create some energy. You're trying to create some attention. Okay, social media. Prospecting-based marketing enhanced with social media. And so social media allows you, first icon there is select, which is, zero in on 1 or 2, okay? The big ones, obviously, we all know of, Facebook and Instagram, but there's some things happening these days with TikTok and Snapchat, for depending on which generation you're in, depends on which platform may make the most sense for you. But look, pick something and just stick with it. Like the question before, or the mention before from somebody on Slido was the best lead generation is the one that you do consistently. Pick one and do it consistently, because you want to be able to schedule your posts. and create some scheduling around that. Command provides you an opportunity to be able to do that. Plug into Command and see how easily you can schedule posts and make your life easier. It's actually even easier to use than using Facebook itself. So I highly recommend checking out how you may be able to schedule posts organically or paid marketing advertising through Command. Select a branding for your social media, whether it's your logo or whether it's your message. Remember we talked about in the beginning on your message, creating a uniform message that you're consistently applying over and over again, but create some uniformity with branding, whether it's a logo or your message, so that you can continue to apply that over and over and over again in social media. Creating a social media presence for your business, a business page versus a Facebook group. Groups are closed, pages are open. Pages allow you to market and advertise, which is a little bit more versatile and flexible and being able to get in front of more people. This isn't a Facebook class, so we're not going to jump into that, but I need to know the difference, right? Am I spending more time on a page or am I spending more time in a group? It may differ for each of you on what your plan is in resourcing people. It's one of the reasons I love Keller Williams, is being able to have better conversations more often with people so you can find out what they're doing. Seek out prospects. Who are you going to target? You're able to less and less do that in Facebook, but figure out what's the areas you're going to work. What are the audience interests and what they're interested in? That still hasn't gone away, and you still have some flexibility there on being able to target your audience in Facebook. Think about the type of people that you're targeting. What do they like? Where do they spend their time? Watch YouTube videos on how to figure out what people in your area are interested in, because there's a way to do that so that you can zero in further on your audience and their interests and be able to target them at a high level. Share, and then comment and create conversation around what other people share, because it's all about the engagement. It's all about the engagement. Make sure that you're engaging at a high level and sharing and having conversation around what other people share provides more opportunities. Service, communicate with people who interact with your posts, add new contacts to smart plans, respond to inquiries in a timely manner, acknowledge reactions, send private follow-up messages, engage with active connections, and return the likes. We've been talking about this. This is all about the engagement. For the ultimate question you want to ask at some point, which is, who do you know who I may be able to help? Now, if you create enough engagement through these steps, you'll be able to create, you'll hear opportunities for change, and that in itself, you won't even have to ask, who do you know? It'll just pop out because there's so much engagement happening with how you like their shares, how you comment on their posts, how you direct message them to stay engaged using the Ford model, go to bold, and never-ending referrals, to be able to create conversation that's not begging or bugging. Who wants to do that? Say me. All good stuff for you to stay connected. Now look, for social media, you guys have heard this before, 20% business, 80% personal. I still see way too much business and not enough personal, because people don't know how to be personal, which is so weird because you're personal everywhere else. Whatever's happening outside of the camera lens or what's happening in front of prospects or clients, look, what on the other side of that door, that's the person that needs to show up and be funny or sarcastic or engaging or be a little bit transparent and gamble a little bit on your vulnerability to be you, because at the end of the day, that's who they want anyways, and it's why they select you. So create some more opportunities with how you're being personal and you're creating that message and that content in social media through whatever format you use. Okay, we're coming down the home stretch here. Take action and develop a plan. And we're going to move pretty quickly here, which is, look, the 80% of people got 90% of their business from 5 sources or less. 5 sources or less. And so KWRI, the research team here at KWRI did a survey, and the top 5 were referrals, sphere of influence, repeat business, kind of all the same there, purchase leads, and yard signs. Wow, amazingly, open house or expireds or FSBOs didn't make the list. So we know where the gold is, right? We know our database is our gold mine because the referrals and the sphere of influence, non-referral, and the repeat business were the big three. But look, I'm going to count that just as one, because what I should be doing with my sphere of influence is touching them and communicating with them at a high level through a 36 touch system or whatever your touch system is, and then figuring out what are my other two. Because those top three, that's where most of your business is going to come from. I know it's 5 there, but look, make it simple. Keep it simple, silly. Okay, so make sure that if you focus your big one, sphere of influence, what are your other 2 that you engage, and get good at those, because that's going to make you much more efficient and effective. And you're going to see the highest bits of return on that anyways. Okay, this is some homework for you. Take action and develop a plan. Look, make a list of what you do. Just spit it out. Just brainstorm it and let it just spill out of your head on what do I do? What do I do, and make a list. And then you prioritize the list after you've designated next to the list items: door knocking, calls to Sphere, agent referrals. How much business did I get from them last year? Or how many leads did I get from them last year? It's a lot. I know for a lot of you, how much business did I get from them is a lot easier to track. But if you're able, and you should be tracking everything, another conversation, that how much business I got for them, you'll be able to see that there's a priority on, well, 14 came from social media. Door knocking, there was 10. Calls to Sphere, there was 7. And then look, whittle that down to, remember we said big 3, there's 5 there. I'm going to zero it in a little more. What's my big 3? Where do I need to spend the most time now? Maybe I get to 5. Maybe enough of you had the bandwidth for 5. But if I just put the list out and figure out where they came from, and then prioritize them 1 to 10 or 1 to 15 or whatever you got, 1 to 5. And then where's my focus on how am I whittling down to the top things that I'm going to develop action plan around, and I'm going to GPS that for sure. And if you don't know what a GPS is, talk to your productivity coach or your team leader or the person who runs your team, and put a GPS together ASAP. Lots of acronyms here. Okay, and then so that you can develop that prospecting plan. Okay, so recap, and we're going to finish up here on what's changed here. How's your thinking changed? How do you feel differently about prospecting? How about big ahas, things that you heard that were refreshed and you said, okay, now I get it. Or things that popped up where you said, wow, I had, that's a new concept to me. And a light bulb went off on how I can do that differently or do something new with what we covered today on prospecting, whether it's mindset or strategies or skills. I lost sound, Heather Tabarez. I can't hear anything. Okay.
Can everybody at home hear me? If you guys are still here.
Yep, I can still hear you.
Oh, there's Troy. Okay. So after seeing all of this stuff that they went through kind of about prospecting and lead gen and all of that, I know most of you guys are fairly new, so I don't know. Have you had any ahas? Have you had any takeaways? Like, what are you guys thinking in terms of what you knew before or what you were thinking of prospecting before watching some of this? Anything new pop up?
I guess like the importance of going for like expired listings and videos as well.
Yeah,
Like beyond just the Sphere.
just the Sphere, yeah, yep. You guys at home, feel free to chime in too. Because I think that the Sphere is a big thing, definitely. I would say that it's probably the foundation of any good real estate career. And at the same time, you know, we always talk about, I know that most of you guys have come in for a one-on-one with me, and we've talked about different ways. I know you're working with JC, okay. There's 3 legs on a stool. You can't have a stool that stands up without at least 3 legs. You can have 2 legs and it's gonna fall over. You can have 1 leg and it's a spinning top, but it's gonna fall over eventually. So your sphere is one leg, but then there's two other legs. I can't see your side. There's two other legs to add on to it. And so there's all of these different ways of doing it. And I think that's the biggest thing that's important, is to figure out which ones you want to hone in on. Like he said, he was choosing 3. Which ones are you good at? Which ones do you like doing? It doesn't have to be any one thing. Some people don't even do sphere at all, which I think, personally, I think is a big mistake. But some people are like, I don't like working with my friends and family, so I'm not going to. I'm going to find business elsewhere. So, okay, this is just kind of to get us going, and then we're really going to jump in. We'll take like a 10-minute break, if that's okay. If you guys want to come back at 10:20, just like water, bathroom, food, whatever. And then we're still aiming to just be done here right about noon. So we'll take a quick 10 now, and then probably another 5 to 10 on the next hour. And then we'll be done. Okay. For you guys, oh, wait a sec. For the one zooming from home, on the screen can you guys see me on Keller Williams' screen? Is the video backwards for you guys, or is it facing the right way? Does it read from left to right or right to left? Yeah, I've had a lot of those. Hey, Brent.
Yeah, sorry, I got kicked off. I'm here.
No, you're good. I was just gonna ask you, on this Keller Williams screen, can you see me?
No, I just see the ahas to achievement, and then,
Okay,
yeah, your basic photo.
okay. Let me. Stop sharing. Oh, never mind. I think it's backwards on this one anyway. Oh, he sees Anna's photo still? Oh, that's because, see, we don't need this. Okay. Thank you guys for sticking it through. Like I was telling everybody here, it was supposed to be regional, and then it got switched at the last minute. So we're making sure everything is working properly.
Britt, I can see you like in a different screen.
On this one where I have like,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, the
Wave.
multiple, like the 6 different Brits. I can see that one like in my thumbnails, but
I'm
The
just watching my back.
the speaker screen is Anna's picture.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to make sure.
These should be like standing.
That is so cool.
And you
Right
can
when I
do
was-
dance. So
yeah,
this way it's like,
Right?
I don't know how to-
When I was a
What do you
little
call it?
kid and like you'd have like the medicine cabinet. Did you ever do that? Where they're like the
Yes.
medicine cabinet opened up into the regular one and if you put your face like in the little thing, there was like a million of you?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Those were the days. I think we will, let's see. That down.
No, that's not what I wanted. No. Oh, no.
Did you just?
Why did this do this?
You got the other way now.
Oh no. Stupid. Okay. Everything's fine. Nobody panic.
We're gonna have to start all over.
Sorry, you guys are gonna have to come back next Tuesday.
So we're meeting here the same time on Thursday and Friday, right?
Yes, yep. So I'll be instructing this week. I've got, hopefully some other members of the ALC can come in and teach and help, so you guys can meet them too. And then, yeah, we'll see. I just, like I said, we were gonna have it presented to the region, so nobody had it on their calendar, so we're just trying to make it work with everybody's schedule. So that you guys get something in here every day. Now on this screen here, for everybody at home, oh yeah, it reads left to right, it should be fine. It looked backwards before. If all three of you are ready to go at home, we can start early, but I don't wanna leave anybody behind.
I'm ready when you guys are.
I'm ready.
I heard two. How about Scott?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. So everybody has a big why to life in general, and the fun thing that we like to do in real estate is really get down to the big why of real estate, because it's a tough industry if you allow it. It'll take you for the craziest roller coaster ride. It can be something that chews you up and spits you out, or it can be something that you take control of and you make, what you want it. You can make it what you want it. I just can't see you. I don't wanna block you with this little makeshift trash can stand we have here. So we want to keep everybody, what keeps you on track is your big why, is the reason that you got into real estate, the reason that you get up and go to work every day, the reason that you want to make however much money you want to make, because otherwise it's like, oh yeah, I can go day drink with my friends today. I don't have a boss. I can go play golf with all my friends today, or I can, whatever it is. I can sleep until 11, or, you know what I mean? All of the things that you can't do when you have a real job. So what I want you guys to do is to kind of think for a second about why you became a real estate agent and what your hopes and goals are for your career and your life. So just kind of take a minute and envision what is your ideal life, and think maybe, a couple years into the future, and what is it that you're doing? Who are you with? What types of charities would you support if that's something that is close to your heart? Or what types of things are you doing to make your life better, or those that you love and support? Take just like a couple minutes to just jot a few things down about like what that perfect life would look like if you could just have wave a magic wand, and what's most important, and what does it look like 2 years from today? Everything went perfect in your real estate career and you made all the money that you ever wanted to. Have you guys heard, I know he mentioned it in the video, but before today, or before switching over to Keller Williams or getting into real estate, heard someone use the term a limiting belief? No?
Nope, that's new to
Anybody?
me.
Just limiting belief or a limiting belief?
Limiting belief, just someone talking about limiting beliefs in general in life. What'd you say at home?
That's a new one to me.
Okay, so how did you said you've heard it before? How would you define it?
Like I guess reality is all you can make of it, or if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So like if whatever you believe is all you're going to believe is possible.
Whatever you believe is all, so kind of whatever you believe is possible is all that's going to be possible.
Yes, there you go. That's what I
Okay.
meant to say.
Nailed it, you nailed it, yeah, exactly. So a limiting belief is anything that is ways of thinking that just hold you back from any type of
Self-fulfilling
success.
prophecy.
Yes, a self-fulfilling prophecy, yep. Bob Proctor talks about your paradigm. And I don't know if you guys know who he is or if you're familiar with him. I absolutely love him, you should follow him on YouTube. But it's anything that's gonna hold you back from success. So a lot of times as people go through Ignite, or they go through any type of first time real estate training, or even like a retraining, I know you've been, Daria's been in for a while. It's always like, I don't have 3 hours a day to generate to lead gen. I don't have, if you're dual career, some of you are dual career, some of you are full-time, but I don't have 3 hours to devote to lead generation every day, or I'm gonna go door knocking and these people are gonna slam their door in my face. And, you know, he kind of touched on that stuff. And one of the biggest things, so kind of back, I guess, on a limiting belief is Henry Ford was the first man to, well, we know who Henry Ford is, so we don't have to go into a history lesson. But my favorite quote of his was, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And that is something that I live by every single day, because let me just tell you guys, personal share, I lost, let's see, so 2016, was when I got relicensed. I got into a car accident that year. I had a $300,000 insurance claim. I walked away with like next to none of that because it all went to medical bills. I had all kinds of stuff that went wrong and just, I was in pain all the time. I had to go to the doctor, chiropractor, physical therapy, all that stuff, all the time. Then we lost my mom. She did not pass away, but she basically went in and had a surgery and woke up a completely different person. She basically had a psychiatric break and I've never seen my mom, like my real mom, since that day. My baby sister, who was my half sister, was living with my mom, and my mom basically up and just disappeared and was gone. We couldn't find her for several months. So my baby sister moved in with her dad. Then a couple years later, her dad passed away. My stepfather, who's been my stepfather since I was 3 years old. I'm a single mom. I was in a 5-year relationship that also ended right around this couple years of time. And I was dual career for the first 2 years back into real estate. So I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of support. I could have made every excuse in the book every single day, and I did for a really, really long time. And I didn't think that I could actually do this. I didn't think that I could build a career in real estate because it was like, there was always something coming up. And life never stops. Like, my life is not anywhere near as crazy as it was for those couple of years now, but life is never gonna stop. It's always gonna be there. There's gonna be kids, grandkids, you know, friends, and just all the friends and family stuff that is, it's your business, but it's not really your business, and you take it on because you love and care about other people, or it is something that is completely, it's you. You might have health issues, you might have, you know, whatever, your other job. There's so many things that are always gonna come up. And if you don't treat this as a business, it won't run like a business. It'll kind of take off, and then it'll flop and come back down, and you'll have to pick up all the pieces and put it back together again. So that's a lot of what Ignite will teach you guys, is to really, really understand that limiting beliefs are only limiting beliefs. You've got to get that stuff out of the way. And then you've got to get everything in place to run like a well-oiled machine. And one of the things that we talk about, we'll touch on, is if you're the CEO of your own business in real estate. And as the CEO, you're also every employee for the most part. When you're a single agent, you're all the employees, you're the HR department, you're the, you know, the accounting, you're all of those things. So if you can't say to yourself every day, like, I would rehire me tomorrow to do that same job. Like, that's one of the things that I would challenge you guys to ask yourself as you go through and you're trying to do your lead gen and you're sticking with your activities. It's like, the job that I did today, would I rehire myself for tomorrow, or do I need to come back as a better version tomorrow, trying harder? You know what I mean? So just kind of have those things in your mind as we go through this stuff. Understand that some of it is really, really scary, and some of it is really scary the first time you do it, and it gets better as you do it, and some of it is scary every single time you do it, and it doesn't get much easier. You just change your mindset to figure out how to get past that little hump. So specifically when we're talking about lead generation, this is what successful agents do every day. So to grow our business, we have lead generating for buyers and sellers. making our listing presentations and getting listings, getting buyers under contract, previewing real estate, running the business. You have to market your listings that you have. You have to show buyers houses, you're negotiating contracts, transaction management, all the way to the closing table. There's all of those things once you go under contract and then you get to close that have to happen between the lender, the title company, you and your client, whichever side you're on. Vendor management, we'll talk about more. Setting your goals, compliance and risk management, attending trainings and coaching, and managing your money. Like I said, these are all of the people that you are in one business. And as you go further, you'll want to learn to leverage some of that stuff out. Transaction coordinator would be the number one. Some of the materials, like I was saying before, some of them will match and some of them won't. Are you guys, if you have your first, the Spark 1 packet, we were out of the Spark 2 packet before, but we're on the Spark 1. What is on page 4 in the participant guide? Let's see if that matches first.
The last slide.
What you just said.
Does it match the, say that again?
The last slide.
What successful agents do every day.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the secret to being a successful real estate agent, there's not really a secret. I think that the biggest thing is, like we said, our mindset, and success kind of leaves us clues. So we know exactly what successful agents are doing every single day. Every day, agents are gonna do 2 types of activities. They're gonna grow their business. Oh, we gotta go back to that slide. That's right. And my little keys aren't working as we saw. It's trying to rotate the screen for me instead of go through the slide. They're gonna be growing their business and running their business.
Right.
These are the activities that we kind of ran through. That's what's going to help you guys achieve your big why, your reason for doing things every single day. If you could really narrow it down to one person or one thing, do you guys know what that would be? Is your big why? You kind of wrote out something. What is that? Is that coming from, are you guys trying to talk to us from the other side, or is that in the? He's muted. Troy, all I can hear is robot sounds. You want to put something in the chat and I'll read it?
Really bad connection, Troy.
I feel like he had something really important to tell us. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I was like, where is that sound coming from? Is someone trying to talk to us? So what on this list of things would be unclear to you guys as newer agents? I know some of you are not as new. On this slide though, is there anything that isn't self-explanatory that I can dive into further?
Like what's the transaction management?
So it's going to be basically, like I was saying, so you go under contract and you have all of your deadlines that you have to meet.
Oh, okay.
So basically you're meeting all of those deadlines. You're making sure that title has everything that they need from the lender, that the lender has everything that they need from title. They should be talking to each other. And if you don't make sure that it all happens, you're working in the best interest of your client. So you need to be overseeing all of these things. And that's also what you can hire a transaction coordinator for, because it's a lot You're scheduling your inspection, you've got to write up your inspection objection. You've got to make sure that everybody comes to a resolution. Then you have your appraisal, and then and depending on which side of the transaction you're on, those pieces will look different. If you're on the sell side or the buy side. So all of that stuff to get you through to the closing table.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Hey, Brett.
Tons of people to talk to.
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds like it.
the lender will be talking to you, the other agent has somebody that they have a helper, and then the closer has a helper, and you get confused. I know anyway.
Yeah, I do
There's a lot
too.
of people.
That's why I'm like, here, transaction coordinator, and they get paid at closing. So you don't have to worry about paying a transaction coordinator before you've made your first, before you've made any money. Because if it doesn't close, they don't get paid, just like you don't get paid. It's an easy
Brett?
button that I utilize
Brett?
frequently.
Who's turning? Ask a question.
Can you guys share the screen? I'm not seeing any slide.
Oh, well, of course. Nope, just kidding, that's not gonna work either. Sorry, I forgot.
It's okay. Beautiful.
So are you as the, like say listing agent or whatever, the one to, or the buying agent, like who's the one that actually hires the transaction manager or whatever? We had one in our last, when we were buying our house, so I never heard of that before.
Yeah, so you would hire one on either side. So depending on if the other agent has one or not, that's great. They'll get in touch with each other, the transaction coordinators will, but you're just worried about managing your side if you're on the buy side or if you're on the sell side. So you would just hire one for whichever side that you're on. Last year I double-ended a deal. I had my listing that went under contract because there were people here from Oklahoma and they saw my sign in the yard, so they called me. They didn't have an agent, so I did both sides of that. So in that scenario, I paid my transaction coordinator to do both sides, so she got a fee of $400 on each. So it was $800 total, but I got obviously more of a commission as well. So at home, any questions on any of these? I think we lost Troy. Okay. So the goal of our time here in Ignite is obviously to model what successful agents do every day, and then to show you guys how to do it. So we kind of went a little bit out of order on our videos and everything, like as you saw. But basically, we want to start with kind of where we can get our leads from, as we've kind of already touched on, and we want to talk about building daily success habits. How many of you know what a database is? Nobody? It's like, there you go.
It's
Information with contacts.
yeah, it's all the people you have contact information for.
Yep. Awesome. So utilizing our database is going to be instrumental in obviously launching a successful career, as we talked about before. Let me see here. Gary Keller says that nothing about our business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. Which obviously is pretty self-explanatory. You don't have leads, you don't have contracts, you don't have closings, you don't have money. This is supposed to be a video. We will see if the video, there's the quote. Okay, so sphere of influence, people that you've already met, people that you already know, trust, they respect you, therefore they'll be likely and willing to help you guys with your business. People like to do business with people that they already know, like, and trust. You've kind of established reciprocal communication with people in your sphere. So the contacts in your phone are a great place to start. This is, contacts in your phone, contacts in Facebook. A lot of you have already heard this from me, and it's good to hear it again. I'm just gonna move this because bear with us. Super awkward. Okay, there. We don't necessarily need that. So a lot of you guys already know that. We've already gone over that, right? And as we kind of talked about before, when you're looking for someone to help you on a project or help you with a big purchase, or like if you had the option to go buy a car from someone that you already knew, would you buy a car from somebody that you already knew? Right. And according to the National Association of Realtors, 66% of people find their realtor through someone that they already know, or a friend, or a recommendation of somebody else that they already know. That's why working on your sphere, I think, is very important, because you're top of mind. You're touching people 36 times per year, as the video discussed, then you're gonna be the one that they refer. And it costs nothing to call people that we already know. Like, it's low level of entry, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about spending all of this money up front, because most of us, when we're new agents, we don't have a ton of money to spend up front. So utilizing that. Your sphere of influence is gonna be more than just, it's gonna be more than just friends and family. And let's see here. It can be people that you've used, vendors. You'll make a lot of vendor contacts. Use them. There are, we have to use inspectors when we go through a transaction. We have to use lenders. We have to use handymen or roofers, or you know what I mean? If you think of a real estate transaction, and if there's anything that goes into the real estate transaction in terms of repairs or otherwise, you're gonna meet a ton of different people. Those people love to make realtor contacts. They love to have you in their phone as a contact, because they're like, oh, this person knows tons of people. If you don't know tons of people, that's who you want to be, and you'll be a successful agent. But what I like to do is have a conversation, have a referral conversation with my trusted vendors. It's like, hey, I've referred you guys a ton of business. I'm happy to keep referring you tons of business. And I also have this other guy who I work with and I refer business to as well. And, he or she, they refer me tons of business. So I would like it if you and I could have that same type of reciprocal referral business. And just them hearing it, something like that, they're like, oh, if I don't refer her business just the way that she's been referring business to me, she's going to give it all to that other inspector, lender, whoever it is. Because it's easy for them to just be like, oh, thanks so much for sending people my way. Like, I owe you a beer, I owe you a Starbucks gift card, I owe you something like that. And it's like, no, I don't want your Amazon gift cards. I want you to send me a referral. Like, thank you, or send me a thank you card and a referral. That's where I feel like on that. So right now, one of the biggest things that we were going to talk about too is that real estate events, or real estate is transactions are driven by change in a life. So someone is born, someone passes away, someone gets married, someone gets divorced, someone graduates high school, someone, someone gets a new job. So those are the types of things that you're going to want to be listening for, or, having your ears out for as you're talking to people, no matter who they are. Oh, your last kid is going to graduate high school in 2 years. Okay, maybe that's 2 years down the line, but that's business that's going to be there at some point, and you just kind of keep them on your radar. Does that make sense? while you guys are thinking through all of this stuff too, does anyone come to mind that is going through some sort of a life-changing event in your life that you can think of?
A lot of
Still
people,
working on her.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people around like my age are now like starting to get married, and obviously that leads to buying a house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I think if you, and that's the thing too, is I used to do that for a really long time at the beginning, is I would go through my database before I called my people for the day, and I would just look at their names and like, who on here has some sort of a life event going on that I can think of? And I would just make notes of it before I called them so that I could circle that into the conversation and ask them about it. And if I was good about my calls and I was good about staying on top of things, I still had notes from the last time I talked to them that were up to date. And they love it. People love it when you care and you remember. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing, is showing somebody that you actually
Where do you keep track of your notes on those people?
command
Oh,
now.
okay, in command. Okay.
Now in command. Before, it was a spreadsheet, it was a big old mess, and, you know,
I was just wondering, like,
notebooks.
personally, like, you know.
Personally, now I
just write it
use,
down or
yeah,
put it
because
somewhere.
I was a notebook person before, and I was like, I wanted it to be on paper. Now I use my little tablet, which I lost my pen, I don't, oh, here it is. But this thing I can write my notes, and then it converts it to text, and then I can email it and paste it into command. Because I have to write stuff down, because I'm weird like that,
The
but
boogie board or whatever.
yeah. But like talking, just typing it up in command, that's a great place to put it, because then command keeps track of the last time you talked to them. And it'll even put, you know, reminders for you to, you know, talk to so-and-so in whatever. Who in your life also would not, is there anyone in your life that doesn't know that you guys are real estate agents? There's people, how long have you been licensed?
I just like, you know, I was waiting because I wanted to like get my headshot and then like, you know, make it official and then find a place. Cause obviously, you know, I don't want somebody to be like, oh, you're an agent, cool. Like I was thinking of this. And then I'm like, I can't help you yet.
Right?
So, and that would be like, oh, well, never mind then. And then they think, oh, you can't help me.
But you're
Because-
official now.
Yeah, so, you know, I just got my headshot, so I'm like,
So everybody needs to know, everybody needs to know that you're an agent, and you just call them and just casually drop it in there, you know, or send them a text. And then always a big thing is like, when you come up to lead gen and you're like, who should I call? And you get like the call scaries, and you're kind of like, who can I make a phone call to that's not gonna yell at me, or that's not gonna feel awkward? Who have you not talked to that you're really close with, or closer with? Who have you not talked to in the last 2 weeks? Start your day with like some fun, nice calls that you know are going to go well. And that will spur you into the other calls that maybe don't feel like they're gonna go as well. And I promise it always goes a million times better than you think it will. You're always gonna like feel like the phone weighs 500 pounds. And then finally, once you pick it up, it gets lighter and lighter as it goes. And it gets easier. This slide here, as we go through, so the likelihood of a move. So people kind of move all along a timeline. They move an average of every 8 to 10 years. So obviously right after they move, the likelihood of them moving again or needing to do a real estate transaction goes way, way down. Over time though, they begin to, you know, become more likely to look at buying, selling, or moving. And the little dots are the peaks at the top here. I'm just trying to make this clear for everybody at home too. This is a little awkward doing a hybrid training. The little dots at the top are when they're going to actually be moving or be most likely to move. Where was so if you guys were to look at 5 to 7 people in your phone book right now, who do you know out of 5 to 7 people that has recently moved and who might be thinking about moving soon and who is somewhere in the middle? So if you guys if you want to even look at your contacts and just place 5 to 7 of them on your chart now. It could be any 5 to 7 that you think. Don't overthink it and go through and be like, I gotta find 7 of them that are gonna move soon. But this will at least get you into the mode of thinking through your people strategically. Does that make sense? Because you don't really think of people other than they're just friends and family, and you're hoping that they're gonna be the ones to tell you that they're ready to move. And sometimes by the time they've told you, one of their other friends has already suggested somebody else to them. So do that activity really quick, because do you all have a wave? And if you don't have a wave on your materials, just draw one. And then find like 5 to 7 in your contacts list that you can think of or that you see.
And what are we looking for again?
Just pick 5 to 7 of them and then just place them on the wave. Like whether you think that they're about to be moving, whether they're maybe in the middle of the last transaction and the next transaction, they're farthest away from moving that they possibly could be, and just kind of think about the last few times that you've talked to them. And if you don't know, then you should call them today, later, and see how their life has been going. So who do you know that is recently moved, who might be thinking about moving soon, and who is somewhere in the middle? Just a handful. So then just kind of thinking of this, when you're calling people, when you're calling through your sphere, you can always kind of do this in your mind, right? Where are they at on this curve? Did they just move? That doesn't mean you stop talking to them or stop trying to call them, but you also just know that they're gonna be somebody that you're gonna maybe ask for more of a referral. They're not gonna be somebody that you're gonna ask them if they need your help specifically, right? And, oh, wait a second, where did my thing go? You just wanna stay top of mind for everybody, so that when they are ready to buy, you're their first call. And if you just close somebody, don't let them go by the wayside either, because 8 years later, when they're ready to sell their house, they're not gonna call you if you haven't talked to them since they closed, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would say that's a big thing for you guys too, is to, especially after a transaction that you've closed, that's the thing that's on their mind the most, is a real estate transaction, and you're the one that is still green into their mind as the best real estate agent that they've ever worked with, because you're the last one that they did. So follow up with them as things go. Call them 2 weeks after the house closes. Call them a month after the house closes. How's it going? You know, do you have any other, I mean, you can come up with a million different reasons to call them just to check in, and make sure that if any of their friends or family have come through to see their new house, you're gonna be the one that they refer to. Throwing people a housewarming party as their agent, that's a huge win, because you get to meet all of their friends. You maybe cater, you know, bring some snacks and some food, even if it's a potluck style, whatever. But that's one of the ways to spur that listing into a bunch more business, whether it's buyers or sellers, because you're the host, you're the catalyst of fun, you're the agent that they just want to talk about forever and ever. And everybody's like, oh, well, you're here. Sure, why don't I talk to you about real estate? I've kind of talked about this with some of you guys too. Easy enough to go through your sphere and call people and just have the Ford conversation. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. If you don't know what to talk about, ask them about their family, ask them about how work is going, ask them about how their summer has been, and ask them about future plans. Are you guys doing anything over the holidays? Are you guys doing anything later this summer before school starts? Whatever it might be. when you're asking them these questions, they naturally will ask you these questions as well, and that's when you get the opportunity, if you haven't already, to share with them that you're in real estate. And if you have already shared with them that you're in real estate, that's okay, they'll ask you how the market is. And that's a huge point of conversation for people. People love to talk about how the real estate market is. They, all of them have seen HGTV, and they all think that they know everything, and they wanna pick your brain about it. So, one thing that I always tell people, I think that Brent and I were talking about this at his last one-on-one, every week, I like to find a really, like a fun fact about the market. RE Colorado, when you first log in, it shows you something like record high sales in June, I think was the last one that we looked at. Take a couple of minutes every week to read through one of those things and have that be your point of conversation. When someone asks you about real estate, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I saw that Colorado had the highest sales prices across the country on average in the month of June. That's not an accurate statistic, but I'm just saying, so don't tell people that. But I'm just saying something like that, and then people are like, oh, you know, and then they think that you know everything, because why would you know more than the newspaper knows? And it's, you know what I mean? So that's a big one. I would say, let's see, why does it keep bringing up this slide? It's in here too many times. So basically, you guys know what a sphere is, you know what a database is, you get the gist of it when I'm saying to call them and go over, you know, just being nice, a nice, friendly person. So now that you guys kind of are familiar with what that means when we say that word, we want to become familiar with just kind of some tools that you'll want to maintain your database and then launch your career. So we're going to go over commands like we were talking about a few minutes ago in the context, let's see here. So, KW Tech, we're going to talk about command. Keller Williams' vision is to now be the real estate company of choice for agents and their consumers, their customers. And one of the ways that Gary Keller and Keller Williams want to do this is to make everything easier for you and your clients as well. Who of you guys already uses some sort of a cloud product? Right. I mean, most of us, Google Cloud, iCloud, something like that, where most, you know, photos or messages or something get transferred to. So the purpose of the cloud is to make, you know, information obviously easy to store, easy to access across multiple systems and devices. You don't have to, like back in the day, and that realtors would carry around a Rolodex of all of their contacts, and also a huge MLS book that had all of the MLS sheets in it that would have to be reprinted, gone through, deleted, shredded every single day, updated. Like, it was insane. So we're not, you know, in the Stone Age anymore. So basically what Keller Cloud does is it connects all of the tools that you need to manage your contacts and database. It kind of tracks where you are at in each deal. It reminds you of what you need to do, and to easily communicate with clients. So of all of the stuff, the main tools are commands, like we talked about. It's kind of like the homepage for every agent's business, and then the KW app that consumers can use to search for listings or to get information about the deal that they're doing with a KW agent. Command allows you to see the homes that your customers are interested in on from the KW app, so they talk to each other. And then, you know, you can get some more insight into what they want. Command also will be like having an assistant kind of in your pocket. Again, they're reminding you of things that you need to do. You can have an entire task list, because once you see what all goes into your first transaction, you'll recognize. Can you let Troy back in? Oh, no, he's out for the day.
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry, we lost Troy. There he is. Hi, Troy. Okay. Sorry.
Yay, I'm back. Thank you.
I've got my phone here and I didn't see that you were texting me, so I'll
It's all good. It's all good.
okay. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do. I have an issue with tech for some reason. I just always have. And once I stopped being in resistance to it and finally dug in to see what all I could do, I'm like, oh my gosh, my life is so much easier. I don't carry around like a daytimer anymore. All my friends would make fun of me and pretend like I was older than I actually am. And now I have a Google Calendar and I use Command and other things like that. So here we go. This is what Command looks like. If you guys have not already logged into your Command console, it's integrated end-to-end Keller Cloud platform that contains business critical applets for running and growing your business. This is their description. It's the tool that's going to help you guys manage your database. And then, you know, there's an area for cultivating. So when you connect with someone, you have from the second that you connect with them to getting them all the way to closing and everything in between. And so Command is basically there to kind of help you with all of those steps along the way. So in this portion of Ignite, we're kind of going to focus on entering contacts into Command and using smart plans to engage in touch campaigns. So you'll learn more about these plans a little bit later, but basically to log into Command, do you guys, well, first let me ask, does everybody know how to log into Command? No, not yet, okay. How about at home? Do you guys all know how to log into Command?
Command's my best friend.
Yep, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna just. Stop. This is what I can't stand doing this. We might not be able to do it on here. This is not participating. Okay. I'll go over with you how to log in. I'll show you. It's simple, the login part. We don't need to watch the video, I don't think. So once you log in, this is your kind of your home page. This is what the app, oh no, that's not what the app looks like. I'm saying Colin Keller Williams. You can see all of the different little applets on the side here. If you guys ever need help with Command, we have Amy Skillen, who is our tech trainer, our Market Center tech trainer. She'll set up a 20-minute video, a 20-minute window with you guys on her calendar if there's like something specific. Also, we have the 66-day challenge, which I think Jimmy's doing. That's another, it's just a handful of YouTube videos that are under, it's Marty Miller's 66-day challenge. And it's on YouTube. That'll teach you almost everything you need to know about Command. And it's just, what, 2 to 5 minute long videos?
He does a video every day for 66 days, but it's only like 5 minutes long for each one. So you can go through 10 a day easily.
Yeah. So that's super, super, that's just how to use Command. Yeah. And it'll show you all of the different stuff that you can do with it, like smart plans and all of that. I mean, there's so much to it that it can be really overwhelming. So rather than, you know, trying to set up a training with Amy every single time, I would recommend that you guys look at that 66-day challenge. And then once you get through that, it's like, you'll probably have a ton of different ideas as to how you want to implement all of the uses of Command. And then it's like, pick 2 or 3 of them and then set up a training with Amy. And she'll get on Zoom with you or whatever and just go through it. Or if there's something, you know, just that you need a little bit more expansion on. So did you guys all get the link to the toolkit files for Ignite?
Yep.
Wait, what? At home?
Yeah, it was in the email that we got with the Zoom Connect or the Zoom meeting link.
When did you get that? Because everybody here is looking at me like I'm crazy. Which is not, you know, I'm just saying.
I think I got it, if not yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got mine yesterday.
And so it's got all of your toolkit stuff. So we're just making sure that you guys, so from here on out, I know this morning was a little bit confusing. We basically are gonna have 2 classes per day. So we had 1 and 2 today, we'll have 3 and 4 on Thursday, and then so on and so forth. So if you just want to print out 2 for every class, there will be some classes that only have 1 section and we'll have a little bit of a shorter day. But for the most part, we're gonna be doing 2. And you guys can always text me. Does everybody have my phone number that's here? And then you guys can text me if you're unclear on what day we're on. Or what training materials that you'll need. And if you come in person, we can always print them here. So let's see here. So basically, kind of as we go through Ignite, you're just going to see that we have learning modules and daily success habits. So the first 2 weeks are called Spark, because obviously the course is called Ignite, and we're going through the modules to spark a successful real estate career. So what you guys can expect to learn in each module is we kind of just went through a general overview of some things today, and we talked about lead generation, and just an overview of all of the different things, obviously. So you guys already know what we've covered in terms of that. What we also want to look at what we also are going to look at is understanding scripts, the benefits of using scripts, and we can get into some practice as well, or set up you guys practicing outside of it as some kind of a homework. It's always nice for people that are in Ignite to kind of pair up and be script partners through the course, because you guys can switch partners, and then some people after the fact continue script practice, because it's something that is really, really useful. Another thing that I also used to hate and refuse to do for the longest time, I was like, oh yeah, I totally did script practice all through Ignite. I did it all through Bold. I did it all through all of my trainings, and I didn't do it at all. And then once I finally did it, it's like, oh, this is really helpful. So we'll talk more about script practice as well. Making sure that all of you guys have your database set up and that you know how to feed it. Your database is your business. So we are going to focus on the 3 levels of a millionaire database, and then work on developing one of your own. We also want to set goals that actually matter. So in that segment, we'll talk about setting a meaningful goal, learning to use the 411, the 411 model, and then applying the 80-20 principle to achieve your goals, which he kind of talked about there, that you have 20% of your activities is what gets you 80% of the business, or 80% of the business comes from 20% of the people that you know. It applies across everything. Then we also will learn how to define your value to your client and develop a script for delivering your value proposition. We have winning the buyer. We will teach you how to find buyers and then take the buyer opportunity from contact to close. We'll talk about working with sellers and obviously doing the same thing from contact to close. And then we'll go into a day in the life of a real estate agent, a successful one, not just a real estate agent, because the average real estate commission in the state of Colorado for a whole year, do you want to know what that is?
No.
Does anybody have a guess?
15,000.
Anybody else?
Or it's like 30 or like 50.
No, the average income for a real estate agent in the state of Colorado is $6,000 per year. Because again, 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. 80% of them are doing next to nothing. And I'm pretty sure 30% of them close one deal and then keep their license and do nothing with it. So we'll do a day in the life of a successful real estate agent, and basically how successful agents structure their day. That will kind of give you a framework of how to structure your days so that you guys can meet your goals and have a successful real estate business. So if you guys have questions, if you're going to miss a class and you're, wanting to make it up or whatever, just let me know ahead of time and we can get that figured out. So what we're hoping to do is get you guys your first appointments by the end of week 2. Is to get get an appointment. I know not all of you are brand new, I'm sorry, but we're going to try to get everybody at least to have one buyer lister appointment by the end of next week, because we want to get you guys rolling as we go through this. So it's not like, oh, you're sitting here in training for days on end and you're not getting any business from it. We want you to have business that's ready to go by the end of this, if that makes sense. So don't think that it's a big waste of time. Today is a little bit more boring. And now that I say that out loud, I really hope that Thursday and Friday aren't more boring. But today is usually the most boring, and then things will get a little bit more fun. So we just want you guys to all be completely set up and ready to go. Let's see. Oops, nope, that's what I wanted. My buttons aren't working. So the daily 10-4 is what this is. So the 4 powerful habits are things that successful agents do every day throughout their careers. It's the activities that support, and the daily 10-4 are the activities that support those habits. Basically, these are the things that are going to help get you guys your first appointment. So you start with your sphere. You already have people in your phone. You add them to your database, and you use this as an opportunity to call them and connect with them or reconnect with them. You can follow up with them with a written note, thanking them for their time and for helping you to grow your business through referrals. There's a million different ways of doing it. Previewing, let's see here. Going in manage your database. Why does it say? This talks about the previewing homes job aid. Basically, who previews homes? Have you guys ever done a home preview just for the heck of it to go and see what's out there and what's listed? That kind of went away during COVID, but now it's a thing that we're able to do again.
Like my boyfriend and I were going onto Zillow like all the time just to look at homes because
Right.
we, one of our big dreams is having a nice home.
Yeah. So doing something like that and just looking at them online, I mean, that's what we all had to do through COVID. If you have time, I would highly recommend making time at least to preview like 2 homes per week. Because once you get into it, you can actually you can see a video or you can see the photos online and that'll help you with your market knowledge. But until you get into the house, sometimes it's like, oh, this is a flip. I can definitely feel the difference. You know what I mean? And those are the things that you want to be on the lookout for your buyers when you're taking them through a house. You don't want to sell them something that is busting at the seams or falling apart because they put it up with popsicle sticks and Elmer's glue. Like, and you'll be able to see that stuff the more houses you see.
So when you preview them, like, are you going in and like using like Showtime or whatever to like schedule a showing? And
Yep.
then, if they were under the impression that maybe you're bringing a client, or would you put that as a different?
You can set it, so most of the agents will have it set in showing time as an option. So you can do the option as a preview or the option as a showing.
Okay.
Furthermore, I like to use preview appointments as an opportunity for a Facebook Live video or a YouTube video or something where I'm just narrating. Nobody has to know the address. You can say, I'm at this beautiful home on blah, blah, blah street. You do need to get permission from the selling agent beforehand. Technically, this is recorded. You do need to get permission from the selling agent 100% of the time. And if you're going to record their listing and advertise it anyway. Facebook, I mean, my Facebook is private, so only my friends and family see it anyway. But that's obviously part of your sphere. So you're just like putting yourself out there. You can put it on a Facebook Live, you can put it on a YouTube channel. Some people use YouTube channels to market, which I will tell you guys, video is extremely underutilized in our industry. Like, it's something that I think there's a huge market for, and hardly anyone is using it yet. So
Guess what I want to do.
you heard it here. Yeah, do it. Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, it helps you to know what your clients are seeing online, and then you get to also put some truth to it, because you want to be able to have those conversations with people too. It's like, you might see a kitchen that looks fantastic on the MLS, and then it's absolute garbage in person because they did a really good job of photos. Or it can be the complete opposite. My very first house with my boyfriend years and years and years ago, the kitchen looked like it was 5 feet by 3 feet big, and we weren't even gonna go see the house. And once we got there, it was my favorite kitchen that I've ever had to this day. And so it can be either way. So don't let buyers, like, make sure you have that conversation with them, and you'll see it yourself, obviously, too. And if you do that every single week, you're gonna know more about the market than most, and you'll be able to kind of add actual tangible value for your clients. How are we doing on time? Do you guys want to take a 5-minute break, or do you want to push through and finish?
I'm good to finish.
At home? You guys are at home.
I'm good with pushing through.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's just do that. So, basically, we want you guys to make the most of Spark and Ignite in general. So the rest of your day, after your Ignite classes it's not going to be like time off necessarily. It's going to be time to revisit the goals that we go over every day in Ignite. Growing your business or running your business is what we're focusing on. So let's see here. What is on page 13 in your participants
It's
guide?
to prepare for success after new activities. And it's like, has this confidence ranking.
I need to just have a copy of this myself. Page 13. Let's see the confidence rating on
I got my fingers.
That's okay.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so for today, I'll give this back to you shortly. I'm supposed to have this in my material and I don't. So for today, if you guys see page 13, it actually is a list of activities that would be a good, something for you guys to dive into this week. I would go through there right now and enter your confidence ranking on each of those activities from a 1 to 10. If you don't know what the activity is, put a question mark. Because these will be things that we kind of are going through, like I said, as your afternoon stuff after we leave here. And I would choose 1 to 2 of them every day. So you have to know what they are.
So like 10 being the most confident.
10 is the most confident. 1 is, I know what this is, but I don't know how. And then if there are any on there that you guys don't know what they are, you can tell me now and we'll make sure.
Is anybody doing open houses this right now?
Yes, actually, Mary was going to be at Ignite today and she ended up scheduling an open house instead. So she's in trouble. Just kidding. No, but but yeah, they're getting back to them. So you can do an open house for anyone you want, and you just have to make sure that whatever the guidelines are for COVID for that county are followed.
Maybe more like, because houses are selling in 3 days. So
I know, well, and that's the thing.
want open houses?
They do. So we've actually seen like a huge shift the last couple of weeks, and stuff is sitting on the market for like almost a week now. No, but I mean, even through the craziness, there were some agents that, like, knowing that they were going to book full showings, they still would just set up a 3 to 4 hour window that was for open houses, and they had tons of people through there. I mean, I think that as crazy as it is right now, if you could get in on somebody's listing, knowing that you're gonna have that many, that much activity, why not? At the very least, you collect business cards from agents and give them to me and Anna to get them in your downline and make residual income. It's never really a waste of your time, in my opinion. So, okay, are you guys all good on that list of activities? Like, does every single one of those make sense to everyone?
What's the read the one thing?
So the one thing is a book that we can get you a copy of. That's one that basically it's an entire book about kind of your big why and what is the one thing that you can do. What he says is, what is the one thing I can do today such that by doing will make everything else easier to do or obsolete. So when you're sitting here and there's all these things that you have to get to and you're like freaking out, what's the one thing that you will do that makes everything else not matter or makes everything else easier? And you have to, it's a really, really good book. We'll get you a copy of it. If you don't have it, we'll find one.
Same thing, they were supposed to get us a copy of or me, I guess, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Yeah, if you don't have yours yet, okay, we'll make sure, before you guys leave today, we'll go look. And see if we have some here. If not, we'll order them for you.
Well, I also have a question, so I eventually want to do, because I noticed on the Facebook group that there's agents who are just like, need someone to host this open house for us. And I eventually, I want to be one of those people to say, yes, me, but obviously haven't ever done an open house before. So is that something I should schedule a shadowing with someone?
You can do
first?
that. I was going to, so Mary, the one that I was saying, she and I are gonna talk about how to do a mega open house.
Okay.
So anyone who is interested in that, we can hop on maybe after hours, it'll be a little bit of a makeshift Zoom call, but we can at least just go over that and kind of how that would look. I like to do the mega open houses with 120 signs. You don't have to get your own signs. You can pay for a sign company, rent their signs, have them put them out for you, but make it actually worth your time. You know what I mean? It takes a little bit more effort and planning up front, but if you don't do it that way, you're only gonna have 5 people and they're all gonna have a gym. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who wants to hop on that, you guys just let me know before we leave today and I'll make sure that you guys have the Zoom info. So we can go. Is somebody on the other side trying to? Guys, Zoomies at home, do you need any, or did you need something? I can't tell if you're trying to talk or not.
No, I think we're good. I
I'm
think I'm
good.
good. I think I might have hit unmute for a minute. Sorry, I'm talking over people.
No, you're fine. I was just making sure.
Actually,
So basically, the goal of our time together is just, help you guys to think, feel, and act, and use what you learn to spark and ignite your business, basically, to just get you guys launched. And then you kind of will stumble through some of the stuff and wonder why we're doing it maybe, but it'll all make sense at the end. And any questions that you have along the way, or even if outside of Ignite, you're thinking about something and you have a question, text me or call me. Like I said, I'm not gonna be here every day, but always feel free to text or call me as you guys are doing your activities. Let's see here. Do you guys, as we go along too, what I want you to do throughout the entire course is to write down your ahas. Do you know what an aha is? Everyone knows what I mean when I say that? Okay.
Yep.
As we go through and just write down any of those things that you might find. What I would recommend, and actually, I'm gonna see if we can get some neon sheets of paper in here, and those are gonna be your aha sheets. There's spots on your notes that say aha, but what I recommend is having it all on one sheet, 1 or 2 sheets that are like a neon color. You keep them through whole program. And then you can just reference that, rather than going back through and like, which ones do I want? It's like your bright sheet of all of your great new ideas. So I'll see if I can do that, if I can get us some neon sheets for the people that are here, and then people at home, just make sure that you take note of all of your ahas. Do you guys have any ahas from today so far at all, from the lead generation video or from anything that we talked about, or do you have any questions or shares, anything along those lines?
I really like the idea of like using vendors as contacts for referrals, and then also like, you know, notating like if, like people move around life events is one that I kind of wrote down. Oh, and I like the idea of like hosting a housewarming party. Just building that connection. And like, I feel like that can build like relationships, which is the thing that like I'm really big on.
Yeah.
For my business, so.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that your biggest job is to meet people and have conversations. Get closer with everybody that you know. You know what I mean? It's like, when I first started and I was digging through my contact list, and I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to this person so long, I haven't talked to that person so long, you know, like, and yeah, and you don't have to. The thing is, if you're in this for the long haul and you want to actually build a career out of it, then you're gonna miss them. You can't sit there and only focus on the people that you know are gonna buy or sell now, because you're gonna miss all the other ones that are gonna buy or sell in 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then you're gonna be on the same down and out relationship with them that you're like, oh, well, I haven't called them since last year because I was focused on these other people. You know what I mean? So if you just get into a habit of cycling through them regularly and staying in contact and just making it a better relationship gradually over time, every time you get in touch, that's all you have to do. And it's a simple thing, and it's not easy. You'll hear that a million times too. Keller Williams loves all of our sayings. But it's simple, not easy. It's not something that we like to make it a lot harder than it has to be on us. We think that it needs to be more complex to be successful, and it really, really doesn't. So just keep that in mind too as we go through this, because you're gonna be like, well, this seems like it's really just simple and easy, and anyone could have thought of that, but it's just the repetition of getting you guys through it.
Like, it's definitely gotten easier for me at least.
Yeah, well,
Just
you've done
normalizing it.
great, Sticky. I think getting right out of school and just diving right in, like, yeah, I wish I would have done that right out of.
Part of me is like, I really didn't even need to go to college, but the business
I
degree helps.
know. Well, that's what I did. I went back and forth all over the place. I was like, field college, beauty college, real estate school, workforce, back into real estate school.
Yeah, luckily I was poor enough to get financial aid, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
There you go.
You made friends and memories.
Exactly, I made my.
All those people that are
here.
getting ready to get married in my house.
Right, they're right there.
Mhm. So, let's see. Where did they go? Talk about ahas, okay. So, like we said before, the overall goal is for you guys to get your first appointment. So the tasks here are basically the activities that will be needed to help you get to that goal. You guys can use command if you're comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with it yet, just keep track. That's the biggest thing. So I don't want to push too many things on you guys at once, because command can be overwhelming in and of itself. And eventually you will use command to track it, because you'll have to for compliance purposes. So the goal basically with your database in command, you have like an overall health score. And we can look at all of that in more depth later as well. But we want your health score to be 50% or greater. And basically all that means is you have full contacts with people, that you have an email address, a phone number, and a mailing address for them. Because those are gonna be all of your different ways, the 36 touch, that you can mail them a birthday card, you can send them a newsletter in the email, and you can call them to tell them how your best friend and whatever else.
And Ricky also told me after I had all my contacts in, birthdays. Because if you have a birthday, that's likely.
Oh,
You just said
birthdays.
you have everybody's birthday, but Facebook does that for us
Yeah.
now too.
Yeah.
And every morning you can see all the birthdays, so you can just contact people and say happy birthday and start the conversation and, hey, can I get all your info?
Yeah.
And that's another way.
Hey, I
to
wanted
get
to
con-
send you a
yeah.
birthday card, it goes on your
Yeah, I
birthday,
didn't
they don't
have
have
it.
your address.
Yeah.
That's a good one in your first year of getting through all your contacts, because mailing addresses, unless you sold them a house, I don't have very anybody's mailing address. I do,
email
because
address.
my command health score is almost 100%. Just kidding, it's not. But, you know,
I like that 10 conversations a day. It sounds a lot less daunting than go through your database and call your 300 people in your sphere of influence.
10 contacts a day, or 10 conversations a day, and then trying to add 10 contacts a day. That's a little, I know,
Yeah.
I see the faces,
It was
and I
easy.
can feel it through the Zoom. What?
It was easy at first,
Right,
but now,
it's easy at first, and if you have, how many people do you have in your database, Jenny?
over 100.
Okay. How many do you have in your database?
Close to 300.
Okay. About 100.
Like 250.
Not quite there yet.
Okay. How many, Troy,
250 names are in my database.
and then how about Brent?
What's up?
How many people for Brent White?
Oh.
Sorry. Maybe he's not there. And how about Scott?
Around 100.
I'm just making sure that, okay, nobody got kicked out of the Zoom, right? Okay, sorry, my phone just keeps going off and now I'm traumatized after I left Troy in the waiting room for so long. Sorry. 10 handwritten notes. So this is something that I use as it's almost like a set myself up for success for the day, like a self-calming ritual in a sense, is 10 handwritten notes per week. I do, which this says 10 handwritten notes per day. That's a lot. Or it just says 10 handwritten notes.
Gonna have a
So
sore hand.
let's go for 2 per day, because that's what I do. So I write 2 thank you notes per day. And it could be to anyone. And it's like, thank you to a lender, thank you to, whatever, a family member, a friend, anyone that you've had. I mean, you can always, it gets a little bit difficult. And if you guys have never read the book called 365 Thank Yous, you should read that book too. He gave himself a challenge to write 1 thank you note every day for a year. And he had this ridiculous change in his entire life. And so it kind of ties back to that limiting belief and your mindset and where your head is at with things, because when you start being grateful for things, people start having gratitude for you. And again, it's just another way of staying top of mind. And everyone loves to get an old-fashioned handwritten thank you card in the mail. You have no idea. It doesn't matter who it is. They could be like 17 years old, or they could be, 80-something years old, and anywhere in between. Everyone, I get the biggest, people call you to tell you thank you for the thank you card. And then it's just this big, gush fest. And I'm sure all of the boys at home are like, oh, I love having hugs and love and everything all the way around. But anyway, I would say 2 thank you notes per day. And I'm going to say this even though we're being recorded. If you did nothing else and you only did 2 thank you notes per day, if you're overwhelmed by the activities and you just think like I need to get something done, just do 2 thank you notes per day. And then you can add on to it as we get through this. But activities are really important. So really, really try to get your 10 contacts added in 1 week, 10 conversations a day, 10 handwritten notes, and then who thinks that they can do 10 home previews in a week?
Do model homes count?
Yeah,
Because yesterday I went by one of the builders,
it doesn't
my
count from
friends.
yesterday.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I mean, and they had 6 models to go through, so I'm
There
like, oh.
you go. Yeah. Go to,
homes?
yeah, because I mean, and if you look at online, what it looks like online versus what it looks like in person, oh yeah, you just, that's the biggest thing is to get a feel for what the buyer is feeling.
And it's a lot different in person too than even on those like virtual tours.
Oh, totally.
You know, in person, like, oh wow, it's way small.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, all of that stuff is made to look a lot better than it actually is. Okay, we're gonna circle back around to one of our daily success habits is memorizing and internalizing these scripts. Scripts are important because we are allowing our business to grow. We are sounding like the expert more, which propels your business to grow. Just like doctors learn anatomy before they're working with patients, we need to learn our scripts before preparing to have meaningful conversations with clients. When you use a script, you end up being in control of the conversation because you're using purposeful language that helps you basically to just get to your end goal, which is a closed transaction. It's going to help you guys to communicate your value. Once you have more internalized them and you have them in your brain, it's like you have this filing system that you can automatically call on really quickly instead of sounding like you're stumbling over things. So even when you might not necessarily know exactly what you're talking about, you still sound polished and you're not fumbling over your, trying to find the nice thing to say like I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? When you're having a conversation with someone, it just comes up way easier. It's basically like we're practicing, not in real life. And, those who are a master of their craft, athletes, actors, any of those people, they all practice before they get to the real thing. So I would say scripts is very, very important. It also helps you uncovering kind of motivation. So you'll realize that too. Motivation for buyers and sellers is going to be the biggest thing. They say they want to buy their house or sell a house because of something. We want to move because sometimes it's something big, like they need to move to be closer to family, or they got a new job, or something of that nature. You know that the motivation is there because they can't change what is pushing the move. For some people, it's just, we just feel cramped in here. We want a bigger house. But once it comes down to it and they see how things are going and what they have to do to get their house ready to sell and what they have to do to buy and they have to go through this whole big thing, you have to be able to bring them back to motivation, and the scripts are going to help with that because they will lose sight of what their motivation is. And it's not, you're not being a sleazy car salesman by doing that. You're helping them. You're getting them to remember, like, hey, you guys wanted to do this. Do you want to stay in the 3-bedroom house with your 5 kids and you guys are, clamoring over each other every single day? Or do you want to have that dream house that we talked about when we very first had our consultation? And it's not maybe that way, but this is what the scripts are for, is to keep you'll go down the emotional spiral with them too. And this keeps everybody on track and it helps them. So we are in going through this, we're going to do a quick script practice. I will be the agent today unless someone else wants to volunteer. I don't want to put everybody on the spot first thing on the first day. What are some of the objections, or when you guys are going through calling people? I know some of you haven't really had much lead gen time, but even maybe in what we've gone through today, something that pops up in your head when you think lead gen and objection. Does that make sense? What do you think? What is something that you run up against when you're calling through expireds for sell by owners, database, anybody?
For my sphere, like the biggest thing I get is like I'm not looking for somewhere to buy and I don't know anyone who is. And so then like what I say back to that is, well, like that's okay. But whenever like you do decide to buy or sell, and if you know someone who is, I'd be really happy to help.
Yeah, yep. And another one is, another good conversation is, if you, I know you're not looking to buy or sell right now, and when the time comes, who is your first person, or who's the first agent that you would call? Sometimes they'll say you, sometimes they won't. And for you guys that are newer, that's actually a really good conversation to have anyway, because as you're going through that forward conversation and talking about occupation, and they bring it back to, oh, what are you doing for work these days? Oh, I just got my real estate license. Oh, that's cool. How's the market? You know, blah, 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 blah. You go into your whole big thing, and then you go back to them and you're like, well, yeah, and so actually I'm kind of curious, just because I know that the average person knows anywhere from 6 to 10 real estate agents. And so I'm just curious for you, when you are ready to do a real estate transaction, who's the first person that you call? They'll tell you, and then you ask them why. And I'm just curious, I'm just wondering why. And oh, because, and you might hear something that's like, hey, that gives you a great idea for a way to do business. And at the back of your mind, you're like, haha, not anymore, because you're gonna be the one that's, you know what I mean? Okay, what else? What other objections or other things that you guys maybe think of, or like what makes your stomach sink when you're trying to, or when you're thinking about lead gen?
Why do I need a real estate agent? Houses are flying off the market right now.
Yeah, you can look them up online.
This-
I think they don't need one.
Yep, this is my favorite one. So even when talking to for sale by owners, when talking, yeah, I mean, well, specifically when talking to for sale by owners. Is that what you mean? You're speaking specifically for FSBOs, Troy?
Yeah, that's, you know, really, to be honest, FSBOs or people who are on the fence. It's my favorite go-to right now when I'm talking to people about, you know, trying to go and convince them that, or not convince them, but telling them, you know, the whole reasons why, you know, you're leaving money down the table and all of those other kind of pieces that we've gone over in script practice.
What do you say?
The first thing I say is, so you're right. Houses are flying off the market right now. But I also can guarantee you that my team and my group with Keller Williams will get you top dollar for what you're looking for. And it's not only do I come with my marketing, do I come with all of these other pieces that I have, but let me tell you also what else I come with. I've watched people try to sell by owner. I've watched people try to go and use discount brokers, and their houses, when we walk into them, when I'm walking in with a buyer, the buyer knows that this house isn't ready to go and sell. The buyer knows that this house isn't ready to prep, and they walk away, or they go and want to go and give a lower price than what you're wanting and what you're looking for. So if you go with us, I can guarantee you we're going to get you top dollar. I can guarantee you we're going to represent you properly. I can guarantee you that when it comes down to the contracts and other pieces like that at the end of the, you know, as we go through the transaction itself, that you're going to be well taken care of. Doing it all on your own is crazy hard. I know people that do it, but it is crazy hard.
That's a good one. I like to throw them my thing when I first started. Some of you guys already know this. When I very first got into real estate, I got my license fresh out of high school, and then I didn't do anything with it for a while, and then I got back in and I was only like 23 or something, 23 or 24, and nobody took me seriously. And they're like, oh, look how cute she is, and you know, and so that was a big hurdle for me to overcome, and that probably wasn't even fully true. That's just what they focus on. So I would always hit them with the data. I always do my numbers on everything. So with this one in particular, oh, I don't need an agent. We're just gonna sell it for sale by owner. I see for sale by owner houses falling off the shelf all the time. Like, awesome. Totally get what you're saying. Everything is going really, really quickly right now. And I just wanted to ask you, are you aware that, for sale by owner homes, even though they are selling faster than they normally would before we got into this crazy market, they're still selling for 12 to 20, anywhere from 12 to 20% less than homes listed on the MLS. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Okay, well, did you also know that 90% of all real estate transactions that end up going to a court case come from, as a result of a for sale by owner, a for sale by owner sale? Oh, no, I didn't know that. Did you know that for sale by owner sales only make up about 3% of transactions across the board? And yet they make up for 90% of court cases as in, you know, a real estate transaction resulting in a court case. So, I mean, that's not as polished as I normally am when I talk to my people, but you get the gist of it. When you can hit people with numbers like that, it's a big, it speaks to your knowledge and it shows them you're not talking down to them or telling them you can't do this. And Troy, I'm not saying that that's what your script did at all. I'm just saying, if you present it to them this way, you're just speaking the facts, and they have a self-realization that's going to kick in that's like, well, you can't argue with facts. And if they are somebody that wants to, and they think they're gonna beat the 3% and the 10 and the 90% and all of that, great, you don't wanna work with them anyway. Call them for sell by owner, because they're gonna be the one that wants to list their house 50% over market.
Right.
It's a waste of
You know,
time.
I heard a really good one. I think it was either a team meeting or it was something else where they said, you know, I guarantee if your concern is paying me my percentage, I guarantee I can figure out a way in this market. I bet you that I can go and you know, sell your house and for the price that you wanted, I bet you I can sell it for more than that will cover my commission. And you know, after mucking around in this market for 7 different contracts for my last client, I could almost guarantee that's a good place for us to have that discussion too.
Yep, totally. What else from anybody?
How long have you been doing this?
Brett, this is Scott. I'm just curious, just so I can get better prepared with the scripts. What are maybe the top 3 right out of the gate scripts I should start working on my own?
It depends on your lead generation. So who are you targeting with lead generation?
I'm going to be doing circle prospecting.
So depending on, are you doing circle prospecting around a listing? Are you doing
around a house that just sold?
Okay. So are you door knocking? Are you calling? Are you mailing?
Am I mailing?
Yeah, like are you doing any direct mail?
I will be, correct, yes.
So depending, I mean, I have a bunch of different scripts, but basically what I would do with circle prospecting is I would mail something out that says just sold, and then give it about a week, and then go through and do a door knocking. And my script to those people is, hey, I just wanted to see if you saw there was a house that sold last week. I actually had some buyers that saw that house sold and they're really interested in living in the neighborhood. And so now I'm just going through and trying to see if anybody knows anyone in the neighborhood who's interested in listing their house. Something along those lines. And again, more polished. I have actual scripts here. If you want, you can look through them and I can make copies of them or share parts of them. Some of them I have digital and some of them I would have to scan in, but I have a ton of them along those lines if you want.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But that's a big one. That's what I did when I didn't have any clients. I went through the whole office and I asked everybody who their buyers were and what their buyers' needs were. What neighborhood is the buyer looking in? What price point are they looking in? What, whatever. And then I entered that criteria. I entered their search criteria, made myself a search in RE Colorado. And I went and door knocked that neighborhood. The neighborhood that had the most houses that fit that criteria. I just went and door knocked, obviously not the active listings, but you know, all of the houses around it are gonna have similar features. And you just ask them like, hey, I know that there's, you know, especially now, the market's crazy. And houses are flying off the shelf, and I have these buyers that have been looking to get into a home and they're just not wanting to get into a bidding war. Do you like, are you guys interested in selling maybe in the next 30 to 90 days? Or do you know any neighbors that are, so that we can have it on our radar? And you end up getting listings from that, because you can still bring the buyer, and a lot of times it will work out that, or a lot of times it won't work out, that specific buyer is going to be a purchasing client for that house. But you're still making contacts, you're still getting to know people, and those things can often turn into just a listing for you because they weren't thinking about it before and now they are.
When you say bring the buyer, do you mean have the other agent that has the buyer agency agreement with the buyer, have them bring it to that house?
Right. I mean, because you could go door knocking and say you have a buyer all day long, and if you're comfortable doing that, totally, that's fine. You don't. My thing was I couldn't do it unless I believed myself.
Right.
I had to have real buyers that I knew were going to be there to actually possibly buy the house. Some people go out and they just do it anyway. And they say they have a buyer for a particular neighborhood.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, well, see, and that's why I present it from my side, because I'm like, I couldn't do it. Okay, so try to, by the time I see you guys on Thursday, why don't you guys just try and make, let's say 6 handwritten notes by then. So 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and then 2 before you get here on Thursday, if you can. And then your contacts, like I said, try to make 10 contacts per day from now until then. We might have time in our next, during our next class to actually make contacts during the day. But just make sure that, you guys have that to-do list or that activities list? You said 10 or 6 handwritten notes. 6 handwritten notes, just 2 per day. I mean, if you can do the 2 extra before we meet on Thursday, that would be, I think good, just to get in the gratitude, like the experience of what that gratitude does for you and just for your own mindset. And then, yeah, just kind of keep going. If you guys want, if anybody needs or wants copies of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent or the One Thing, let me know. Which one you want a copy of, or both. And then how was it for you guys at home today? Are you guys able to hear everybody in class? Like when
Yeah, it
others
was great.
are talking besides me?
It worked great after I got back on.
After you got back in, yeah.
Oh, I had to give you a hard time about that a little bit.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's all
Okay, and then
good.
you had just, what's that?
It's all good.
And then I was gonna say, so just keep track of your stuff. So by the time you guys come in next time, be able to tell me how many contacts you made, how many people you actually talked to, or like how many calls you made versus how many people you talked to, how many thank you cards you wrote. And you know, something that's helpful through this process too is even just keeping a little bit of a journal. And I know some people aren't journaling people, but just writing down a couple of sentences, how you feel after you did your activities for the day, specifically your gratitude, like your thank you notes, and then your phone calls. And if you can, add 2 people per day to your database, or find 2 people to add. And I would say it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily have to be a full contact. You might just get a phone number right off the bat, but know that you're going to find a reason to get back in touch with them shortly to get the full contact information, if that makes sense. Okay. And yeah, I think that's about it for today. Thank you guys for sticking with me through the more boring day. Yeah, and I'm here for questions, so. Anything else from anybody before we call it a day?
As soon as the recording stops.
Okay. All right, you guys good at home?
You betcha.
All right, cool, thank you guys.
Thank you.
See you Thursday.
Can I get copies for the next 2 days?
Yes.